We are Brightside Theater.
Hey, home theater nerds, welcome to Brightside Home Theater Podcast, a home theater podcast that's all about the experiences, the sights,
the sounds,
the scenes. DJ, put your bra away. Come on, buddy.
I'm just getting dressed up here, boys, just trying to join it, coming in hot. Sorry for the delay, coming in late today. Sorry about that, everybody. We got people yelling at us in the chat. Like, I mean, come on.
The button.
Scruffy is anxious. Somebody push the button and start the show. I think Scruffy would say, somebody push play, please. So, but we're here. We made it. How are we all doing?
Doing great.
Good. Yeah, we have the uniforms on.
About 2 minutes ago, you guys had all the energy, and I'm like doing it, and then I'm like,
well,
all right,
we used it all up.
You're like, how we doing? We're doing good.
We're
spent.
Trying to, pacing ourselves.
Yeah.
Got to build up. It's not a Michael Bolton song. You don't start at 11. You got to build up to this.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Steve noticed the shirts. Here we go.
Oh, yeah. The shirts, the hats, the mugs.
The
Come
pens.
on. We're doing the pens.
They do exist. I can confirm.
Yeah, exactly.
And they're very good if you're clubbing.
Yeah.
Seals?
Well, yeah, those two.
Maybe.
Yeah, they're attracted to the light.
In the dark, yeah. Oh.
Yeah, so I'm resisting the urge I'm feeling a little bit like I'm at a Burger King drive-through, but other than that, it's okay. I'm feeling the need to ask if you want fries with that, but it's fine.
There you go.
At least the headphones and the hat.
Yeah, well, you got to get you got to get the mic that comes out.
Yes,
and you're like, hi.
That's what the pen's for.
Would you like popcorn with that Blu-ray? Yeah, exactly. Like, can I find your seat for you?
Yes, yeah, that's right. Yeah,
see,
and if you don't like your order, I can tell you where you can shove this.
The sun might not shine there, but this does.
Yeah, we'll see where we're going.
Yep. The diapers? What's the diapers?
Hey,
did I miss something?
The Brightside diapers going back to trying to find out who got them. Yeah. Well, little peek behind the scenes, those in chat. John's not wearing pants.
That's right.
And now the thing is, you're all going to have to leave it to the imagination to work out whether he means the American pants, as in trousers, or the British pants, meaning he's gone commando. Right. We'll just leave it to your imagination.
I am international. That's all I'm going to say.
Don't ask, don't tell, John. Don't ask, don't tell.
No. I didn't ask. John volunteered that one all by himself.
Well, Paul says, "Oh, hello. I think I've got a job offer. Here we go. Straight away. Look at this.
Yeah.
Come and do some waitressing." Paul Hurd says, "Come and do some waitressing at our American graffiti night. How are you on roller skates? Awful.
There you go.
Awful. As bad on roller skates as I am with ice skating. And when I last did ice skating, I nearly killed 2 people. So it's not
You
good.
being one of them or 2 other people?
No, 2 others. Oh, I mean, I can't ice skate for toffee. And I came around, there were 2 people, a lovely couple, I'm sure, who were holding on for grim death to the side. And you had him holding on to the side, her holding on to him. And I came round at speed and I couldn't stop. And I clattered into the both of them.
Oh, wow.
And they both went up in the air like Home Alone. Sorry, Deej. And landed flat on their backs on the ice. So, I got out of there pretty quick, and I think they're both just about coming out of traction some 15 years later.
Oh, that's funny.
So roller skates are a no-no, Paul.
Oh, man. I've never heard can't roller skate for toffee. I've never heard anybody say for toffee. So I guess that's,
well, I can think of another name.
It's a family show.
It's a family show.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let's see. What do we got?
Are we going to do the merch thing then, Deej? I mean, people are saying they're loving the hats. They're loving the
new
stuff.
hats. Johnny Speakers love the new hats. Yeah. Did you guys notice the backs of them?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did John?
I mean,
it's all about the experience.
See?
No, I hadn't.
See?
Nice. I saw that on the back of the mug.
Yeah,
I didn't notice it on the hat.
The mug's got Brightside logo, Yeti, and then it says all about the experiences on the back. And the hats, same thing, all about the experiences here. And then you guys have it's the logo on the front. Yeah, they came out really nice, didn't they?
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, very cool. As I was saying before we started, those in the chat, a parcel arrived out of the blue last Thursday, and there's just I was in the house alone, and the squealing that was going on as I was opening this package of delight, and sheer girly delight. Someone probably thought I was showing Barbie in Cinema George. It was not. It was just me opening this package of wonders that had arrived from the States. So very, very cool indeed. So yeah, awesome. Very cool.
Yeah, you're very welcome. They both arrived the day they said they would. I think John's might have arrived later in the day, but it was weird because, like, like yours time. I apparently because the cost to ship to you, Steve, you get time travel with that because yours actually arrived like. I know you're 5 hours ahead, but you texted me in the morning and it's like, oh my God, this is amazing. You were excited, right? And I'm like, all right. Well, John's 1 hour the other direction in my country, and we had to wait till the next day. And they both went out the same day. They were both supposed to get there on Thursday. And John's probably arrived on Thursday, but not until late night, which is like literally a whole day later compared to when yours arrived.
Yeah, I was just saying, to be fair, I'm sure it was here Thursday, but I last checked around 5 o'clock, and then honestly, I forgot, I kind of just went about my night, and then I woke up the next morning, and I was like, oh, I better go look outside and see if that package is there, and of course it was. This being 7 a.m., I know it wasn't delivered Friday morning, right? So sometime after 5. Sometime after 5 on Thursday.
I think that clearly shows, John, the safe neighborhood you live in. No one nicked it.
True.
No one was running down the road with a parcel under their arm thinking that they'd scored a new.
If they would have known what was in it, they would have clearly stolen it. But
that would have been like the bank heist in Heat.
Yeah, they probably just thought it was like dry pasta or something, and they couldn't be bothered.
Feral pig.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It was my package was squealing too, Steve, but it wasn't. It wasn't for joy.
Package.
Yeah.
Van Gool, a new movie or a hat and pen. What to do?
All of them.
Yeah, well, I got news for you. These things ain't cheap. It's and I do want to sell them. I'm not making any money for any of these. The Yetis I can do in the country. And I just ship. I'll make them and ship them right to you. And then the hats I have to do here. I have them done here. I had to pay, and I got the design all done. When they did this, they had to shrink it, the embroidery and everything. So that's all done. But now it's if I order in bulk, they get a little cheaper. But like I think I did 3 the first time to see how they'd come out, and they were like $40 a piece. If I do them at 10 a shot, they're $30 a piece. So if anybody, and I'm like, I'll show you the damn invoices. I don't care. I'm not trying to make any money, but I was going to say like the hat's $35 plus shipping. And that would be like a box of popcorn, $5 box of popcorn plus the hat and your shipping. And then you can have a hat. And of course I'll throw a pen in when we're shipping that out. The mugs, you guys have the big ones in front of you. I have a big one, right? That's what I have the smaller one here.
Oh yeah. Okay.
And it's, those I believe, I can't remember. If you're interested in the mug, I'll give you a ballpark. I think the small ones are 35 plus shipping. And I'm just going to charge you straight out because I could upcharge it, but I'll show you the invoice when I send it to you, and then you just pay the box. Pay me in a box of popcorn, buy a box of popcorn. But I'll ship them out, and I think these ones were like $49. The big ones you guys have are like $49 or something like that. So if anybody's interested, just email me, dj@brightsidehometheater.com, and I can set that up for you. I do have another order of 10 coming in of hats. And if I get enough of them, I'll just keep ordering them. So, and but yeah.
I can confirm that the all of it is very cool. The mugs are absolutely awesome as well. However, can confirm when full of beverages, you need both hands. Weighs a ton.
Yeah, I've been using it all week. I'm just not drinking water right now. So
it's funny you say that. I nearly fell at the first with this. DJ nearly had a problem with this because it's frankly almost too good to use. And remember I said about your John Deere, if I had one, I wouldn't want to use it because I wouldn't want to get it dirty. This is the first time I've used this all week.
Really?
I just couldn't bring myself.
No.
Yeah, because it's too cool.
No.
It's too nice.
Yeah.
It's honestly, I've only got water in it now.
I want to have it like in my in the new theater. I want to have a bunch of them. Like,
oh yeah.
So like I'll have them up on the rack, kind of like you guys do. But these, they are nice. Yeti does a great job. I actually called them because every time I do one, I have to, like, if I do a single one, I have to redo the entire design. If I order like 6 of them,
they don't save that.
No, and I had to call.
Stupid.
Doesn't it? And it's like, I even called them and said, is there a way to save? And they're like, nope, you just got to do it as a one-off and every time. So like when I order a bunch for me, like for you guys, I probably could have just done it online and shipped it to you, John, but I wanted to put the package together.
Right.
And because I had to ship the hats anyways, but I'll be shipping, mugs and stuff. And so, yeah. It's
cool.
Well, then you should collect. If people want them, you should pull orders and let them know it might be a little bit of time. That way, you can combine the art fee. Because if you have to pay the setup fee, which is like $10, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know if I can do different shipping. You know what I mean? It's like it's going to be that's going to be part of the cost. So they're going to pay for the art fee. They're going to, whatever it is, and it's like the first time that's how they got me. The first time they did it, the art was free. And I think now it's like $10.
It's $10, and then it's $6 per side. Because I've looked at them for my store too.
Yeah.
And it's $6 per side, and then $10 setup fee for the art. So
yeah, and that's how they get you.
Yeah, you're adding $22 on just for the art. So if you could combine orders, you could mitigate that fee a little bit. But this is the Home Theater Podcast, and we're talking a lot about shirts and mugs and hats. So
yeah,
John,
maybe we should get this ball rolling.
When the Arkham Comics merch is available, let me know.
I've got a cart. I've got an order full of Yeti that I just haven't pulled the trigger on yet. But
I have a John Deere Yeti, the exact same one you guys have. I have it in green, the John Deere green. Right. And I didn't make it. I bought it at the John Deere store, and I use it in my track. If you look at that picture, let's see, where is it? Where's the picture of me on the tractor? Is it still up there?
I am going to just take the hat off, guys, because unlike you guys, I don't have air conditioning and it's warm.
No problem.
I'm going to just take this back to Chrome Dome for a minute.
So if you look right there, that's my John Deere one right there.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah.
So. Yeah, so they do have them, and they sell them for $49.99 in the store.
Right.
Which is pretty much, if I went there with the John Deere logo and did it myself, that's what I would. I could probably get it for the exact same price, So, but yeah, they're not cheap, but they are really, really nice. I mean, Yeti's not cheap anyways. So, but hey,
very cool.
Anything worth doing, right? All right, you want to get to some home theater stuff, John? Oh my God. Did you leave your house this week?
I had some extra time on my hands, so.
You think? Did you break a leg or something? What happened, buddy? I was like,
I don't know. Just found some extra time.
Yeah, and I'm like, I came in and I was
I'm usually binging seasons of things.
Right.
These were just movies, so.
Right.
3 or 4 movies equals a season of something.
Good for you. Yeah. Good for you.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some. We got some boxes of popcorn here to check out. So we got Mike Schramm bought us a $5 box of popcorn, and I texted him and said, thank you so much. And he goes, and this is what he said: Thank you for always being here for my AV questions. So that's all he wanted to say. He didn't even ask to put that in. I had to squeeze that out of him. Just bought us a box of popcorn.
Nice.
And then next we have Steve Att. You want to read that, Steve?
Yeah. And Steve Att's in the chat. Look at that, rhyming again. Look, I think we've had that
look
before.
at you.
Steve Att in the chat. Okay, so is this an email or a text, Deej? Email?
It's an email. Email, yep.
Okay, so entitled, first off, a couple of boxes of popcorn coming your way. So it says, just finished the last Takeover Tuesday with Danny Speakers. I wanted to pass along some info since he brought up the Spatial Audio Calibration Tool, SACT. Previously, I mentioned I was a big fan of the tool. Hopefully he doesn't mean Danny. Anyway, hopefully Chana will get you a copy soon. It comes with both a quick start and a more detailed guide. But one of the gurus that follow Chana and Joe and Tell goes by the handle of Reverend Slim. Oh, may he bless him. And he put together a document on their Discord group that I have been using with some additional input from Rev. You might find helpful if you decide to play with the tool. I'm not going there again. Also, since Danny mentioned he had some challenges working the Blu-ray player remote with the disc, maybe you can mention to him that ripping or downloading it to his Plex server provides a pretty easy way to run the tool files. I've been doing that and it works fine. Regards, Steve Att.
Nice. Yep. And I believe, if I'm incorrect, Steve, I apologize, but I believe he bought us a $10 box of popcorn. So,
cool. Thanks, Steve.
Thank you very much. And what the heck? I'm sorry. All month I forgot to mention, but we did sponsor. We already did. We sponsored a. Sorry, everybody. We did.
How do you spell that?
Yeah. Did you hear it? Did you hear that noise? Or
No, I heard you go.
Oh, I thought you guys could hear my computer because it just chimed in my ear. So I went. So all the money not all the money, 50% of the proceeds, or actually more than that, this month we sponsored a Pan Mass Challenge rider. If people aren't familiar with the Pan Mass Challenge is, it's a ride up here for John. Do you remember what it is? Do you remember?
No.
Okay, so Pan Mass Challenge is it started out as like 100 and something long bike ride. And I think they're 50 something years now, but they raise like millions and millions of dollars a year. And it's developed into, you can start in Boston and go down to the Cape. You can do a short ride, a long ride, but I think the longest ride is like, I think it's almost 200 miles. You do 100 each day. Yeah. You do 100 each day. And people raise money all year to do these things. Back in his heyday, Lance Armstrong rode in it. When he was looked upon as a celebrity.
Right.
But
he's well known still.
Yeah, pretty well known. Yeah,
infamous.
It actually goes through my town here, and it goes through Franklin and stuff. It starts in Sturbridge. The original ride was Sturbridge, Mass, and you go all the way down to like Bourne, and then from there you cross the bridge into Bourne, and then the next day you go around the Cape all the way to Provincetown, and that's where you end. But riders are look for sponsors because you need to raise X amount of money to get into I think last time I looked into it, it was like $5,000 just to get in. Wow. And depending on the distance, I think that's for a full distance or something like that. But we sponsored a rider. I'll have the name for you next week. We're still in August by then. A friend of my wife's at work did it.
When you get to Bourne, do you have to have a name badge? Because then it would be the Bourne identity, wouldn't it?
Yes, it would.
Sorry.
And it's
late.
I've always wanted to do the ride. I never got the time. And then it is a lot to raise the money too. Mm-hmm. And I'm always afraid that like instead of raising the money, I just pay it. And I'm like, okay. And that's like, I think one time the closest I came, it was like 3,500 that year. And I was like, maybe I could, no. So, but I end up, we gave 120 to somebody, and I'll have their name next week. So Pan Mass Challenge, and it benefits the Jimmy Fund in Boston, which is cancer, whatever research, cancer research, but cancer you donate to that. So my mind is scattered today. Lots going on. All right, that would do it. We got to get to this listener experience at the end. I was going to put it at the front, but it's not fair. Had this gentleman, I'll call him that for now, paid, then it would have gone to the front. But, you got to earn it one way or the other, and I've got my... So, all right. We ready to, John, are we ready to get to John's home theater experiences this week?
Don't build it up too much, man, because I don't need all that pressure.
Hey man, I am ceding all my time to the honorable gentleman from Texas.
I'm just going to go grab a bite and I'll be back.
I'm not going to do them all at once.
I know. All right. John, the floor is yours. What would you like to open
doesn't matter.
with?
Any order. Or the order.
I've waited long enough. I choose Krull. Tell me what I need to know, John.
Oh, now? Okay, so I have that.
Sorry, Deej. There you go.
You got the image?
Yeah. Here it comes.
Boom.
All right, Krull.
See how quick?
Yeah, so this was on Blu-ray, so 1080p, DTS Master Audio. I didn't own this movie, and when you mentioned it a couple weeks ago, I was like, well, I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to go in. I'm going to see how it is. Depending on your fondness level for this movie, Steve, will really will determine what kind of experience you have watching this. It is not a good film. Let me just say, it is not great. But it's equally fantastic. You know what I mean? Like I had a great time watching this movie. It's as bad as you remember it being. The special effects really don't hold up at all. They were low budget, I think, when it was made. And they really show. But it's fantastic. Like it is so much fun. I had a great time watching it. The Blu-ray was quite good, actually. I thought the better than another one that I'm going to talk about later. I thought it was pretty clear. It had a good picture quality, it had decent audio, of course, mixed into Neural X. So, but there were some decent atmospheric effects and overhead effects throughout the movie. But I'm not going to sell it as as an Oscar winner or anything. It's You remember it. You actually remembered it more than I think. I saw this one time in the theaters when I was young. Maybe one other viewing on HBO or something.
HBO,
I hadn't seen it in a long time. When you commented even about the Cyclops, I didn't even remember there was a Cyclops in it. So you remembered it a lot better than I did. But I had a blast watching it. So I think you should watch it, Steve. I mean,
oh man,
it's
you.
I don't think
my
it's
dilemma worse somehow.
I don't know. Like, I can't imagine your rose-colored glasses are that rosy that you don't remember the experience of this movie.
Well,
but
I've seen it multiple times, not for a very, very long time. But I loved this film when it came out. Yeah. I loved it, even to the point where I can remember trying to fashion a little, like the sort of stormtroopers. They have these little guns that look like little tridents. And they're like little guns. And I remember trying to make one for a toy that I had. And when I was still playing with action figures, so last week, when I was very young. And I can remember, that's how much I love this film. And I've seen it endless times.
You have a much
for ages
greater fondness for it than I did. Like, I didn't go into this with that much nostalgia. Again, one that I'm going to talk about a little bit later is for me what this was for you. But yeah, I don't know. I had a great time, Steve. I thought it was good. I had a lot of fun. I would watch it. And
so it's better than Conan then. Like you're saying it's bad, but you enjoyed it.
Well, here's the thing, because again, I went into when we rewatched Conan a few months ago, or I don't know, probably a year ago now.
A couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah. I went into that with higher expectations, remembering it being great, and it let me down. I didn't come into this movie with that same baggage. But Steve, again, this may be Conan for Steve, right? Because he remembers it fondly. But I had a good time with it. So,
all right.
I think go for it, Steve.
I thought my dilemma was going to be solved, John. You've made it worse. All week long, I've been wanting to text you and go, right,
don't be scared.
Is it good? Yeah.
It's not.
Yes, it is.
It's not.
Oh man, I'll have to get it and see.
Okay.
But if it ruins my childhood, John, I'm blaming you.
I know. Well, just fasten your seatbelts, buddy.
Oh man, I really want to see it again, and I really don't want to see it again. Because I remember it so sweetly as a stupid little kid.
Right.
And if I now see it as a 48-year-old, grown idiot, I'm gonna just be like, oh, man.
I tell you, the visual effects are rough. Like the Beast is pretty rough. Again, I'm not gonna lie. Even for its day, which this was 82. I think 81, 82.
Yeah.
I don't even think they were good then. So I don't know.
Oh man. Well, Jordan
because
says,
I equate this to actually no, I think it was 83 when I looked at it because I kept equating it to Return of the Jedi. Both movies came out in the same year, but you could really see the difference in budgets between the two films. Because I don't look back now. Of course, again, I have giant rose-colored glasses for Return of the Jedi, but I don't look back on that now and get hung up on the visual effects. Like they still work for me, whereas this movie did not. So
man.
But this was probably made on 1/10 of the budget of Return of the Jedi. So I mean, you can't. Oh yeah. You can't fault it for that. So.
No. So Jordan says in the chat, he says Krull is such a big guilty pleasure for me. I've got the HMV Premium Edition Blu-ray release. HMV is a high street Blu-ray and DVD stockist here. It's like Suncoast used to be over there. Single nostalgic tear down both your cheeks.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what they're like. Although they're still going here. So man.
I guess I didn't make it. I guess I didn't make it easier for you, but
no, I know. I thought you were going to say it was dreadful, in which case I'd know never to go back to it,
right.
Or it was the greatest thing ever, in which case I know that I could risk it.
Yeah, I'm riding the fence on. But again, like I said, I had a blast. I'll watch it again. In a couple of years probably, but I'll watch it again.
And it is.
They only have it. They only have it in
Diesel.
SD on Kaleidescape. Otherwise, I would have already bought it. When you posted the images the other day, I looked and I was like, it's only an SD. So I'm like, I'm not putting SD up on a 110-inch screen.
Yeah, it'd probably be rough.
Yeah, it's DVD. That's all it is. So, we got this is funny, Scruffy. Our shirts can be used for automotive repair.
Yeah.
Good eye, Scruffy, because that's exactly what they are.
Yeah.
They're Carhartt shirts, and I use these these are what I use for work. I actually have some more heavy-duty ones that are long sleeve for wintertime, but they look exactly the same. These are the lighter, more, John's in Texas, and I mean, if you're going to shows or you're going to any of your stuff, Steve, these are a little lighter, so you're not, sweating.
All right. I don't have to wear a name badge.
Exactly. Oh my God. I wear them all day. I come home from work, I change into this, but it's exactly what I have on for work. It just says Envision on it, right? Everywhere I go, they're like, "Hey, DJ." I'm like, "Hey." I go to the bank, I go anywhere, and it's like everybody knows me, and you're like, and you keep forgetting, even though
it's like, how do they know me?
Day, I'm like, it just makes you feel good.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, you're right. Lady at the checkout counter always knows me at the grocery store. She's like, all right.
Paul is a man after my youthful heart.
VHS or
VHS or nothing.
Now that's where I would have seen it lots. I saw it in New Zealand in the cinema, and then I've seen it in VHS when it came out over here. Again, when I were a lad. So yes, again, single tear of nostalgia, Paul. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Steve, you ready?
I just want to hear more from John.
I think you guys are pretty close this week.
Yeah.
All right. I can't wait to hear about this. How far in are you?
Only one episode. So,
That's okay.
yeah.
It's a great
I've been
episode.
meaning to see more, but yeah, well, quite. So this is The Last of Us, season 1 still. And
That's it, everybody.
episode
Good
1.
night.
Yeah. By the time I
This is
get to
The Last of
episode
Us.
2, it'll be season 2.
Right.
So episode 1. Now, for those recently joining the podcast, when this aired, I saw it as it aired, but only on a really crappy UK streamer, basically, and it was only in 2-channel stereo, 46-inch TV, and it looked okay, but I could not review the audio or the video really on that, and I didn't dare. But I enjoyed the series, so I bought the 4K discs, only now just getting around to watching them, and have watched episode 1. It's every bit as good looking and sounding as you guys said it was way back when it aired. It's stunningly good. Really good indeed. And this is still episode 1. We haven't got to the real sort of meat of this, really, if you'll forgive the expression, which comes next when you get the clickers and everything else. But it's really, really nice. There's a short sequence in bright daylight of the little girl arriving in the sort of the DEFRA zone, and you know the detail in the backgrounds and the buildings and the cattle grates that they've got. And it was just absolutely incredible. The audio is brilliant, as there's a plane crash which comes right over the over the top of the screen, and then you get the bass that comes with it. It's very, very good, and makes me even more annoyed that I couldn't watch it like this when it aired. And of course, you got the Kaleidescape version as it went, didn't you? So
Yeah.
you did get this as it aired, like in this sort of quality. So it's great, really good. And I'm looking forward to getting to episode 2, but there's just so much coming out. But I will get to it, and I'm looking forward to it. It's great, really good. And I'm sure I'm way behind on this, like I was with House of the Dragon. I'm saying it's great. Everybody knows it's great, and everybody that wants it's got it.
Well, I mean, again, I haven't seen it. I only watched it on Max. I haven't bought or seen the 4K discs either. So,
Well,
I don't think everybody has it. Most people watched it streaming. So,
the quality of this is at least as good as House of the Dragon, if not more so. Because of course it's been made with a high budget straight away. It really does look exceptional, and that's before we get to the later episodes where you get even more of the into the story and the landscapes and all that stuff. It's exceptional. So well worth picking up, John, when it reaches a sensible price or come Black Friday. Then definitely pick it up. So, very pleased with this, but I'm keeping it short because, again, I want to cede my time to the honourable gentleman from Texas.
Nice.
Got so much good stuff I want to know.
I do.
All right. Let's see then. What do we got next? What do you want next, Johnny? Oh, let's do this one.
Okay.
All right. Let me.
Is it me, Deej, or every time you say that, all I hear is "Talk to me, Johnny"? Come on, Johnny, talk to me, Johnny, from First Blood. That's what I hear every time you say Johnny.
I didn't know if you were saying that or from Outsiders. Remember the Outsiders?
Yeah.
It was Johnny.
No, man.
Same
no,
thing.
Every time. All I hear is Baker Team. Talk to me,
Baker,
Johnny.
yeah.
Talk to me, Johnny. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Bloodsport. So I finally got my 4K release of Bloodsport. And I'm going to shoehorn my tweak in right now, too, since we didn't get to it last week.
Yeah.
Because it applies here. So I got into the closed beta for the Dolby Vision test for my projector.
Nice.
Can't say a lot more than that because I had to sign an NDA, but I can say that I'm in the closed beta for Dolby Vision. But it applies here because this movie has Dolby Vision, and this was the first movie I watched in Dolby Vision. And Dolby Atmos, of course. This movie looked stunning. I thought for the age of the movie, I thought they did a great job with this disc. It sounded great. It looked great. I thought it was super sharp. The colors really popped. The audio was there. And the the kumite and the fights. Everything sounded appropriately atmospheric. And I love this movie. Man, I was not disappointed. I'm sorry, DJ. I know it let you down a little bit. This movie was still as great for me as it always
still loved
was.
it, but it's just.
I mean,
you know what it is, though. It's not.
You know
Conan.
what it is. It's not Conan.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
the acting is rough. You know, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. You know,
right? Oh
but
yeah.
I just had so much fun watching this movie. And you know, of course, trying to evaluate my my Dolby Vision. But
which you're not allowed to talk about.
Which I can't. Well, I can say that it looked great. You know, it looked fantastic. Like I said, it really popped. It looked good. Now, again, I didn't do a comparison without Dolby Vision.
Right.
But I just think they did a great job on this disc, and it was excellent.
Awesome.
Great time.
Yeah,
great
it is.
time. And,
It is a very cool disc. I'm glad you got it, John, because of course it wouldn't have been cheap either. So I'm glad you really liked it. Otherwise, you know, I would have felt fairly bad. Bearing in mind how much it must have cost.
Now again, it defaults to Dutch audio. I think I had
German.
to switch
I think
it
it's German
or German. Maybe it was German.
Yeah,
but I had
very
to
similar,
switch
to
it.
be fair.
Yeah, I had to switch it into English Dolby Vision, so it doesn't default there. But once you get it set, you know, it's great. So
it's as good as you could reasonably, sensibly hope for a 4K version of a movie this old on this budget. And it does look great. It's colourful as hell. I love the blooming whites of the, funny enough, of the gi that John Paul Van Damme's got in that picture. You know, it just looks so inviting and pure. It's great. And the Kumite stuff. I love the sound of the crowd, which moves.
Yeah,
as the camera moves. The sound moves from left to the side of the screen. So as a movie from this time period and this budget, it's awesome and well worth getting. Jordan says actually quite an important thing, just again in the chat. So finally the UK actually gets it here next week. I've imported the German version. I don't need to upgrade it to the English one. I don't see any reason for that. So Jordan says, can't wait for the 4K disc of Bloodsport releasing next week here in the UK. Very cool and well worth picking up, and almost certainly going to be exactly the same version, just with English menus.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go.
So very cool.
Yeah,
So
I put. For those that are watching, I put this video in to see how observant my two co-hosts were.
I knew it was Dolby Vision. I knew I'd seen it. I noticed it.
Wasn't
That's
sure.
why I added it to the. I like how you want to see how observant I am, and I'm the one putting the images together. It's like, are you observant, DJ?
Yeah. Well,
the
because
guy
neither
that
one of
didn't
you
know
knew
what it said on the back of his hat.
Yeah. Well, neither one of you knew that I was in that beta, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
If you would notice
I
it,
raised an eyebrow when I saw it was Dolby Vision on that picture. I thought that, oh my God, he's done the update. It is finally released for the projector. But I'm trying as much as I wanted to. I wanted to text you and go.
I know, because I was going to text you 2 or 3 times throughout the week because of different movies that I watched. I wanted to save it for the show. So.
No,
and I have to exercise serious discipline not to then text you. Go, what did you think? What did you think? Tell me now.
I haven't watched the whole movie since getting it because I just watched it on the Kaleidescape, and that looked pretty good. But this is the disc it's so cleaned up, compared to the Blu-ray, what that was, and I mean the audio, I felt like it was comparable. It was, but the video is it's so much cleaner.
I mean, it's not a
so
reference
nice.
disc,
no,
audio wise.
It's not a reference movie,
but I mean, it was still very nice. I thought the audio was very nice.
What I have,
DJ, you saying that this is not the home theater experience of the year?
Maybe in '87, but this was this 88, 87, 88,
88, I think it is.
Yeah.
88, I think. Yeah.
But what's fun about these is and it's not just the acting, John. Like it's the entire the way they shot things.
Oh yeah.
And it's still they don't really move as much. It's everything seems like it's a set. We like these palm trees in the background. Don't move. Say your lines. Don't move. It's so funny. But that's what makes it fun, though, And like you said, it's and we thought this was the best.
Oh, in 1988, I was like, oh my God, this movie is like.
Yeah. Only
nothing
to be
better
topped
than
by
this,
like
yeah.
Time Cop. And then you're like, oh my God. I saw that twice in the theater.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw it 3 times. I fell asleep the second time. I was so tired. But then I went back a third time and saw it again in the theater.
I still put this in Kickboxer as my favorite Van Damme films.
Yeah.
For me personally.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
for
I
sure,
appreciate
yeah.
I'm
and
a
with a
big
very
fan
soft
of
spot for
Universal
No
Soldier
Retreat
too.
Yeah, what you got on 4K as well. I've got that. Yeah. Next, and that in No Retreat, No Surrender. I've got a huge soft spot for that film, which I've got on Blu-ray. That film's great as well, although he's barely in it.
Yeah. Let's see. What do we want to do? All right. Let's try.
All of mine will be quick.
Quick.
Yeah, because I want to hear more from John.
Oh, I guess I don't get a turn this week.
Well, you don't have anything, so.
Yeah, I haven't
do.
seen anything in the notes. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, I never made the note. Sorry. But yeah, go ahead.
Okay. All right. So this one then is another one of mine. This is Game of Death, continuing our journey through the life and works of Bruce Lee at Golden Harvest box set. So yeah, Game of Death. So this is now the penultimate one. Game of Death 2 is in the box set, which I've never seen. So I have seen this one. Famously, this was the movie that was bizarrely shot. The fight scenes were shot. Yeah, leave that up, Deej. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. So because this is something I haven't mentioned on the box set so far. So it famously, this movie, the fight scenes at the end were shot. About 30 to 40 minutes were shot by Bruce Lee when he was obviously still alive. And then for reasons I'm not quite clear about, they stopped production and he said, I need to go because I want to make a film called Enter the Dragon. And they said, oh, all right then, well, we'll finish off when you get back then, Mr. Lee. And off he went to make Enter the Dragon, and then shortly thereafter he passed away. So they had about 30 to 40 minutes of footage, including an end fight sequences, and then what they did was rather than just lose that to history, they then, a number of years later, this came out in 78, he died in 73, I think it was, 74. And so in 78, they decided to cobble together a film using doubles and some very dodgy special effects, including literally pasting a cutout of Bruce Lee's face over an actor who was just sat still on a mirror, and all kinds of other things. And they cobbled together this film, and then at the end, you get the Bruce Lee fight sequences. Other than that 30 minutes or so of fighting at the end, the movie's dreadful. It's worse than I remember it. I remember thinking it was okay. I remember thinking, oh, it's all right. And then you get the really good stuff at the end. But other than the stuff with Bruce Lee, it's terrible and really, really weak. And I'm sorry to say that the disc then only sort of shows it up and makes it look worse. The doubles they use are terrible. The effects are just abysmal. It's a hard watch. And funnily enough, after I'd watched it, I looked at some reviews, and all the reviews said, "Yeah, don't worry about the first hour. Just start it where Bruce Lee walks into the room, and then just turn it off after that." And I think I probably agree with that. So having really enjoyed the movies up until now, including Enter the Dragon from last week, this one is a slog. It's not a great movie. I think I'd have rather just seen the 30 to 40 minutes of cut footage of Bruce Lee, because everything else is terrible. Interestingly, the guy that doubles for Bruce Lee in this for most of the fight scenes is the guy that played Bruce Lee in No Retreat, No Surrender. Bizarrely, there you go. There's a segue, but there it is.
It all comes full circle.
Yeah, bizarre, isn't it? Yeah. This film's not great, and there's no point me suggesting otherwise. As much as I love the movies of Bruce Lee, now those of you watching, obviously those listening, if you want to watch it on YouTube when you get a minute. But what I haven't mentioned about this box set so far is that each of the discs comes in a cardboard case. And there appears to be new artwork that's been done for each of the movies, both on the outside and the inside of the packaging. And it's really nice artwork, really good. For those of you that collect this stuff, appreciate, as you know, I don't generally, but those that do, the artwork on this is exceptionally good. So I really do recommend. That's another aspect of the set that makes it really worthwhile. So yeah, it's very, very cool. But the movie in this case, guys, sorry to say, is not good at all. So there we go. But Bruce Lee stuff's good.
Well, there you go. Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah, you had some good images of this. You had that, and
it's fantastic. It's really cool. Really nice artwork.
Yeah.
So there we go. Cool. Game of Death. Mm-hmm.
Game of Death. So, nice segue. So we'll try this and see what happens.
Oh,
all right.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The 4K non-HDR Enter the Dragon. How was it, Pete?
So, Enter the Dragon, 4K, non-HDR, 4K UHD with Atmos. And we also have the 4K disc. Ran out and got it. See? Man. Yeah, see? There we go. Yeah. You got a pen there.
Product placement.
Yep. So, very, very close. Very close. I compared a few scenes on these, and I thought, so I watched the entire thing on Kaleidescape, and then grabbed the disc and wanted to see the difference. And this is another one of those movies that, remember I told you a long time ago in Karate Kid, and you start these movies and they're like grainy and you're like, wow, it's not the same, And then as you get into them, you're more accepting of it because they're not today's movies, right? So I watched this entire movie on Kaleidescape and I thought it looked great. I thought the beginning was a little grainy for me, but then it kind of smoothed out. And what was weird is I went and I put the disc in and I'm watching that and I'm like, all right, this one here is smoother. The grain isn't as evident. And then I went back to the Kaleidescape and I went, oh, wait a minute. It's the same thing. It's just because you're now more accepting of it and you're like, oh, okay. But then as I put like a discerning eye on it, I do think that the disc has slightly less, like it's a little bit less grainy. The HDR, I thought they both like HD to UHD, and I looked at some of the darker scenes, and let me see, I'll flip through here. Like this scene here, this is the mirror scene towards the end. I thought the detail, looked relatively the same. I couldn't get any discernible difference. This scene here, I loved this scene. This is towards the beginning. He's at a gravesite, but the way they framed this, and it's like the detail here in both of them, and it doesn't do it any justice when you're watching it on YouTube. You're watching my clips of it, but the detail in his hair here, but the way this is framed, and you have this light, whatever that is there, but then this halo effect of something in the foreground, it really made him jump off the screen, and also made my screen feel like it was floating in midair. The image was just so good on it. And this is one that I did go back and forth with the disc and the Kaleidescape, and they both looked the colors looked gorgeous, like the greens in the backgrounds and everything. But yeah, I mean, you were right, Steve. I kept wanting to like pop pictures and just take more and more pictures of these things, because like this one here, like the colors in this and it, again, YouTube doesn't do it justice. Us putting our images up there, it's not the same. But just seeing those colors pop the way they did, and you could kind of see it here. His wounds. This movie wasn't made for 4K. It was so funny because you're like, especially the one on his chest. And there's like no rhyme or reason to why one's shorter, like the middle one's shorter, but yet on the guy's hand, that's the longer blade, and that's the part of his chest that sticks out further, which should be longer. So it's like, and you can just see the paint marks and then like on his face and on his stuff. But that's how good the image is. It looks really, really good. So I had a lot of fun with this one. And again, like you said, never looked better.
There's a shot because I put a couple of shots up on Twitter after I finished because I was just taking shots and shots and shots. There's a lovely shot of O'Hara at the point where there is the incident with Bruce Lee's sister. And there's one shot of him there where you can see every hair on his head. You can see the 70s stitching of his sports coat and his roll neck sweater and this kind of stuff. And all of this is just it looks gorgeous, and you can see all the pop marks on his skin. I mean, it's
the sweat. Like you were saying last week,
yeah.
the sweat when you get to the end scenes in the final battle or whatever, and it's just like the glistening of the characters. And there's actually one part when he goes through in another one that I was going to grab a picture, but I just wanted to watch the movie. But like there's actually there's a jump cut, and just to change views, and all of a sudden he's not glistening the same. It's like he looks a little dry, and then they come back to it, and it's like, but that's how good the image is, where it like like you say, like each bead of sweat, and it looked awesome. The scene where the woman there is going to each of them to offer them the women, right? And the first room she goes in, when she goes in there, and they put like, it's almost, I thought they were doing like the Sybil Shepherd blurring the screen, because and then they go to the character and he's like crisp, perfect edge, nice definition. But then they went to Bruce Lee's room, and she was crisp and everything. It was, so I was like, that was weird. I don't know if it was just bad filming or something, but it was weird.
The lenses.
Yeah, different lens or something. But it looked like it was on purpose, but then they didn't do it later. So I don't know. But it looks so good.
What did you make of the audio?
Awesome. Absolutely awesome. That Apple scene you were talking about is amazing. There's some knocks at the doors that come at the back of the room. There's tons of pans, lots of stuff, and again, like it fits, right? And it's not something that you're like, oh, this doesn't really work. It's not like Psycho will always be the one that shocked me the most. That has DTSX, and it sounds absolutely amazing, and it doesn't feel like you're like, well, this is hokey. What are you getting DTSX on Psycho from the 60s? Same with this one, but it just fits so perfectly. And the only thing I thought the dialogue was a little. I mean, it's dated, right? It's 1973, and it's like it felt like it was maybe a little too loud, and it even, I know it's in English, but it even felt like like a Japanese film or an Asian film where the lips don't move the same, because it's dubbing. But it's in English with English.
Yeah,
so there was a little bit of that.
Other than the briefing scene with Lee and the Braithwaite, is it, when they're doing the projection briefing, the film was shot without recorded dialogue. The whole thing was recorded afterwards, everything.
Right. Yeah.
So there's always going to be issues there with the syncing, and then the tele-cine sort of recording, bearing in mind how old it is. But that's the charm of the movie as well. I think that's just what I like about it.
Yeah.
But
it's accentuated with this audio track, right? It's accentuated even more. Whereas back in the 70s, it probably just all blended anyways, and the image probably wasn't so good, so you couldn't really tell anyways. But now we're getting it. It's just like, I mean, your dialogue, it's locked center, and you're just like, and it's bright, and you're like, oh wow. But yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff in this. There was one right after, I forget what it was. It was right after the Apple scene too, and I meant to make a note of it, and I forgot. But yeah, it's really, really good. It's obviously never looked this good. So, but really enjoyed it.
Just before we move on, guys, just because a couple of guys in. So Paul Hurt says in the chat. So going back to Game of Death, Game of Death included for curiosity value. Really, no one likes it, but everyone would have complained if it wasn't there. Yes, absolutely. I mean, and you need that particular fight sequences on the various levels in the pagoda. That would have to have been in the set. And then Jordan says, haven't watched Game of Death 1 and 2 from the Bruce Lee set yet. Despite the quality of the film, it's still cool they were included. So yeah, for sake of completeness, it's got to be there. I am curious about Game of Death 2. I didn't even know it existed. So yeah, but I'll get to that sooner or later.
Yeah. And the other thing is, I was doing some stuff in the background. The other thing with that is it's the prequel to The Crow. They finished The Crow after Jason died, right? And it's like they had to piece it. They had to piece that together, and it's like, and this was done. I mean, you just it's. I wonder if one was like you kind of. I mean, it's just such a sad story. The two of them. This
film is creepy with what happens in this. I mean, he. I mean, it's a spoiler alert for a movie from 1978, but the actor playing Bruce Lee fakes his death by being shot whilst filming something within the film, which is supposed to be blanks, but is in fact a real gun with a real bullet in it. And that's how he fakes his death in this film. And then, of course, years later, Brandon then dies. Brandon Lee. Jennifer Jason Lee, and then Brandon dies having been shot with what should have been a blank, but was a real. Well, actually, no, it was a blank, wasn't it? But there was a residue in the gun. So it's creepy and spooky and weird. But art is stranger than fiction, or just bizarre. But there we go. So yeah, but it's not a great movie, as I said. But you certainly would want it in the set, and I agree, guys. If it wasn't in there, everyone would complain, and rightly so, for 130 quid.
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna. Let's see. Let's get to this hot button topic right now.
Oh, jeez. Let me guess.
Okay, now John. Now look, for the second time tonight, I'm on tenterhooks.
Yeah. All right. So this is Evil Dead Rise. For those who are not watching, Evil Dead Rise. I watched this on Max with Dolby Vision and Dolby Atmos. So I did not buy the disc. I dug it. I like this movie. Yeah.
John, you legend.
Yeah. I like this movie. I agree. Now, again, the comment that you're going to get to, I'm sure, is the one we've read in the notes about this movie.
We'll get to that after.
Well, but what I'm going to say is, like, I have the similar sentiment that I can't testify to whether the disc is reference or disc of the year because I don't have it. But my experience on Max was pretty epic. I mean, it was really good. So I can only imagine that the disc is that much better. I thought the audio was just incredible on this. I will never try to convince DJ to like this movie, but I can't disagree more with almost everything you said about it. Like, I thought this audio track, I thought the audio track just hit from start to finish. Like, you were talking about how you didn't notice through like the center of the movie. You talked about the beginning with the fly
and stuff. There was, but there was ambient stuff.
But there was ambient sound the entirety. What does this run? 96 minutes. Yeah. Like there's audio for 96 minutes in this movie. I heard all kinds of things.
Flies.
I thought the soundtrack was great. Evil Dead were rising all the time. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, there was like, you said no Evil Dead rose at all except for one. Like, the whole entire movie.
That. Yeah, you did. I didn't. No, I didn't, because I didn't spoil it for anybody, John.
What's the spoil? It's in the title. Like, Evil Dead were rising the entire movie. Like, there's nothing spoilers about that. It's in the title.
That's the point of this movie. I didn't know that. How is that a movie? They fall down, die, and get up. That's the movie?
That's any zombie movie. That's any horror movie of this type.
I watched Zombieland. There was a point to get away. There was a point for the characters. This was Evil Dead Rise. Evil Dead. I've never seen an Evil Dead movie.
You didn't have to. Well, you didn't have to. There's no backstory to be explained here. Everything you need to know was in this movie.
then that's to me that's what there's nothing there. It's like
again, I'm not trying to.
they get up. You know,
my initial comment was, I am not trying to change your mind or convince you of anything. I just disagree. Like, I feel like
you were like,
there was
DJ,
audio. I feel like Evil Dead were rising.
DJ didn't say that because DJ didn't spoil it, so you can't say I didn't say that.
What did I spoil? What did I spoil by saying Evil Dead Rise?
John, I'm not accusing you of spoiling. I don't know, but what I said is, you're saying I said nobody rose. All I said was. I didn't say. I never said.
Judges roll the tape.
When did I say nobody rose?
And you said there was only one. You said there was one scene in the middle of the movie where it happened one time.
One of them literally rose. One of them literally like floated over the water. Right at the beginning. I just remember
watching this thinking, Evil Dead are rising every 5 minutes in this movie, so I don't know what, what you're talking about.
Didn't you mean though, Deej? I think because I've listened to it and rewatched that bit before a few times this week. Because what I thought you meant was, Deej, I'm not trying to translate for you. You're a grown man. You can talk for yourself. But what I thought you meant, I took from it was there were times where you said it was just very dialogue heavy and there was very little ambient noise. It wasn't. You didn't sort of pick up anything else around it. And I think I was saying I did pick up rain outside and traffic, and you could pick up little things going on, little air vents, and noise in the building and that sort of stuff. Is that what you mean, John? Is that the kind of stuff you're talking about as well as
exactly?
All
yes. I just felt like there was engagement in all speakers almost the entire movie.
Right.
Like there was something happening.
To me, not to the level of like reference movie of the year. I mean, it was there, but it's not like you're like, oh my God, that's not demo material that you're going to say, everybody, listen to the ambient over here. That's all I'm saying.
But
I didn't say it wasn't there.
Kind of paraphrasing you from the past, does reference have to be loud or bombastic? Like,
nope.
Can't the fact that that all 11 speakers are engaged for 96 minutes, can't that be reference? Like,
if you want it to be, then
it doesn't have to be loud or bombastic or explosions or anything. Like, to me, and I know you agree with this because you've said it before, the best Atmos tracks are the discrete sounds.
But those aren't discrete, though. Those are ambient. Those are ambient. Like,
well, right, but I'm saying it's the stuff that's not in your face. It's the stuff that you just hear because you're enveloped in the stuff that envelops you in the film. That's what are the best Atmos tracks in a movie. Right. And I felt like this movie had that. Like,
see, I don't compare. I don't because, and I said this. Roll the tape. I said this last week. I'm like, I think of when you say like reference beginning to end. That's Pacific Rim. Right? And that's where you're just like, holy crap, you're waiting for a break. And I even said, and you know how much I love Maverick. Maverick is below Pacific Rim for reference because but it does have it. And then this I put behind Maverick. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it wasn't there, but it's like, I just don't love it the way you guys do. I love I do think it's an amazing disc. I think it's an amazing sound. I said it was great picture. I didn't think it was reference picture. I'm like, there's nothing that really jumps out. It's nice. It's got tons of detail, but it's not something that I would be like, oh, you have to see this. And and then when the story itself, you're like, Evil Dead Rise. You're right. That's the entire movie. It's like they die and they get up. They die and they go. And it's like, that's it? I don't know the Evil Dead series. I'm like, if that's all I'm in for, that's not even entertaining to me. And it wasn't. My wife and I were still like, what the hell? We don't understand. Like,
well, again, none of these movies are high art, though. Like, you're not in these things for... you're not getting Shakespeare level dialogue plot or story. Again, you can have your opinion. I'm not trying to change it. I said that. You don't have to like it. I don't care if you like it. I'm not trying to convince you or explain backstory to you to make you like it. I liked it. No,
but you started your thing saying I was wrong.
I just thought you were wrong about the Evil Dead Rise. If you go back, that's all I said. Because I didn't say you were wrong for not liking the movie. I didn't even say you were wrong about the audio track. I just said I heard it. I just thought you were wrong when you said the Evil Dead only rose one time, because that was not what happened.
The one thing I was talking about that you're referring to is like the entire story, like the story. It's like there is none, for one, and it's like
there is.
Really? What is it?
There is.
You just told me a little while ago it doesn't have a story.
I know. I didn't say it didn't have a story. I didn't say it didn't have a story. I just said it's not going to be like, this isn't War and Peace, or name any other.
Thank you.
There was a story there. I mean,
what was it?
Again, without getting into too many. What's a survival story, right? Like any other horror movie, it has as much story as Halloween does, right? You've got a killer. You've got a killer that's trying to kill people, and you've got people that are trying not to be killed. That's the story, right? And then how do you survive?
Yeah. Who's the killer?
Well, it's the dead. It's the demons, right?
You never find that. It's like, and it's just you get possessed.
Well, it's the book, right? The book. Well, it's demonic possession. It's no different than this is no different than The Exorcist or a movie like that where
there.
But again, it's demonic possession, right? And you've got your bad guy that's trying to kill everybody, and your good guys that are trying to survive. That's it.
And the moral of the story is, never open a book that is closed with teeth.
Right.
It's been buried underneath the parking garage.
DJ, I was thinking about that, actually, just to interject slowly, just between the two of you, before you both get sent to your rooms.
This is when it's the best. This is when the show's the best, to be honest.
Yeah, I love it. It is good. It is good. I'm sort of in the middle going, oh, my God. But you guys, will have been like this forever, so it's all good. Did you not? What did you think of the artwork in the book, Deej? The actual artwork itself? Because I thought that might be something that would have intrigued you, even if you didn't like it. The Book of the Dead, and that does have a backstory in these films. There are 3 of them. But what did you think of the artwork in that? Because that looked really clever to me, and like someone spent a lot of time on that. What did you make of that, or is it just inconsequential?
Inconsequential. It's just it was nice. It looked. I mean, it looked authentic. I thought it looked good on the screen. It looked good. It didn't make you. It had a good feel. The art matched the subject, right? So you felt like it was like the book felt evil based on the art, right? And the writings and everything. And you're like, oh, okay. So yeah, that stuff's fine. I just the book is probably better than the gore.
This is what I was thinking. In a movie that you're not terribly engaged with, the things like that would leap out at you, that sort of production design, because the book's awesome. I'd love a copy of the book, a memorabilia thing of that book would be great.
Right.
I'd have that
that would
George
just don't drip any blood on it, Steve, when you're looking at it.
And luckily I haven't got a record player, so I'd be okay. So I'd be all right. I think they need a CD version.
Yeah.
Right. Then I'd be possessed in seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, yeah. That should have been at the end of the book. Do you think at the end of the book there should have been a digital copy?
Right.
A digital code.
There's a QR code that you can scan, yeah.
Yeah. It's
bring it up to date.
It's just one of those this is why I don't like, and like John, perfect example, Jen and I even said, I'm not a big fan of Halloween. I like them. Don't get me wrong. You watch them at Halloween. The music is great. I reviewed the original Halloween on this show. I do enjoy it. But at the end of the day, you're like, it's not much. There's nothing there. It's like they just walk. They don't even run. And it's and I've said it to Steve a bunch of times. Nightmare on Elm Street in the 80s was way more creative horror to me. Hellraiser, way more creative horror than Freddy and Jason. Not Freddy, sorry. Jason and Michael Myers. Those were just so it's they once you get done with their backstory and how Michael got to be who he is and Jason got to be who he is, after that they're just wandering around killing people. And you're and it's a slasher film. That's all you're there to see. And I get that, but that's not entertaining to me. So, Jordan, Evil Dead Rise is easily one of my favorite films of the year. Nice.
I think you might like this one, Deej. Let me pop this one up here. This is so Stephen at. Sorry, John.
I was going to go to that next.
Oh, yeah, sorry. So Stephen at says in the chat, again, doing it again, Stephen at in the chat. That's basically, that should be a separate segment,
Yeah.
Deej. So it says Evil Dead Rise versus The Fifth Element. Sounds like material for a WWE cage match.
Right.
Loser must leave the theater. But you don't love The Fifth Element, do you, Deej? You like it, but you don't love it, do you?
I like it a
Whereas
lot
we
more
love
now.
Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, that's
It's got to be a movie you love, something you defend, forever.
Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, I can't argue with you about, Fifth Element. When I first saw it, I'm like, yeah, it's kind of, but now in 4K with Atmos, it's like, I mean, it really is, it just pops. It's so much more fun. Let's actually, you know what? Let's get to it right now instead of pushing it to the back. Where did it go? Where did it go?
Yeah.
It's
a long one.
There it is. Let me see. Let me pull this up.
Spoilers.
I've got it in.
Steve, you're going to read it.
Okay.
Because
I've
you
been
have
told to read it.
Yeah, you have to read this. So here we go.
Brace yourselves, everybody.
There's spoilers abound, so if you don't know, don't listen.
Oh yeah, I thought. Well, yeah, I think one part is potential spoiler.
There's the spoils
gore.
the end of the movie. So
Yeah, I'll see how we go. I think we're okay. Okay, so this was a Twitter DM that I woke up to a couple of days ago from Mark V at Husboo333 on Twitter, who had DM'd me this about Evil Dead Rise and about last week's show, and he has given me permission to share the DM chain, although I'm missing my responses just for the sake of brevity. And so anyway, so the first one says this. It says, Steve, Mark says, Steve, I can't 100% agree that Evil Dead Rise is a reference disc because I don't have it yet, but I had a very good experience on HBO Max. Everything you said about the Evil Dead film was the same for me when streaming. I can only imagine how much better it would look and sound on disc. I'm about to rant, but just remember that this comes from a place of love and slight frustration. LOL. I love the show. I love the triplets, and we wouldn't be at this point without DJ. Now
But
comes
it's time
my
for him
rant.
to go.
Yeah. So a freaking wood chipper arcing a stream of blood through the air isn't gory. I think he means it wants question mark there. I'll add that.
Yeah.
All right, yeah. How about the Atmos in the air vents scene, or the rain that you, bracket Steve and bracket, brought up? But the worst one of all was when he said Malignant was a better movie. You could see the ending of Malignant in the first 10 minutes on that straight-to-streaming movie. Of course, he wasn't paying full attention. He was too busy thinking about how they made the visual effects and how that would never really happen in real life. For a guy who always says leave your brain at the door, he doesn't follow his own advice for horror movies. I don't know, is that an exasperated emoji? I don't know, something like that. Anyway,
yeah.
He says, okay, I'm done, lol. I bet John will back us up. There we go. Also, if you read this to DJ, please use the polite Englishman voice and not mine. LOL. I respect all of you guys and your opinions, so I can't say he's wrong, but I disagree. LOL. Keep bringing these horror movies on, Steve. I would have never caught the hovering drone if it wasn't for your take. Thanks again. The horror movie brother from across the pond. Now, and then before I'd read that, he then sent again, because he was obviously driving and was listening to the podcast. I hope he pulled over to send that last message. And then he says, Meg's college nickname, laughing emoji. When she's called in and you asked if you could apologize, I almost wrecked my car from laughing so hard. That was awesome. You can't get that on any other podcast. LOL, you guys rock. And then I responded to him, which isn't here, and I just said, look, Malignant, I actually really like Malignant. And he then said, LMAO, he goes, I like Malignant too, but I don't think it was a better movie. And I did ask him, can I put this on the show? And he said, go ahead and include if you want, but please emphasize this is playful banter and in no way evil or malignant. Well done, Mark.
Nice.
I thought you'd get a kick out of the rant. And then I heard the Trench comment, haha. I do wish he'd leave his brain at the door for horror movies, though. He'd probably enjoy them a little more. So, yeah. Now, I did debate as to whether the first bit was a little bit hard. But he does mean it in a nice way. He's not being horrible about it. I think he's generally just defending horror movies. As horror fans, Deej, we're a small but vocal group.
So I'm not going to go off on Mark. I'm not going to get upset. I've calmed since first read. No, I'm just kidding. Steve sent this. I was laughing my ass off. No, Mark, thank you. The only thing that, honestly, I'm not mad at you, Mark. I'm disappointed. Why didn't you bring this to me? I said, how many times have I said, Takeover Tuesdays, you don't agree with me, come on the show. Instead, you go behind my back and DM Steve. Uncool, my friend. Uncool. Now, seriously, this is why John and I came up with Brightside. Because people don't, there's so much negativity out there. And this is a place, John,
it's a safe space.
Mark, you guys love this movie. You love horror. Just because I don't like it, you don't need to defend it. You don't need to get me to like it. Right? You know what? It's like, I don't want any of you to love my wife the way I do. So why do I care what movie you like? And that's why I started this podcast, is because I love my movies for me. And I want to talk about that. And I want to talk about the stuff I love. The irony is, the few times I actually take Steve's advice, watch a movie, and then not like it, because we do have different taste. It's not his fault. It's not like I'm saying Steve's awful taste in movies. It's different from mine. We have a lot of similarities. We have a lot of disagreements in movies. Doesn't mean either one's right or wrong, right? But it's like, that's what we're here for. And you don't have to, I love, leave your brain at the door. I on this situation, I can't, any more than Steve can watch what could possibly be up for an Oscar. I don't think it's going to win, but The Covenant, because it was filmed in Spain, he can't leave his brain at the door for that, but somehow can leave his brain at the door on Evil Dead Rise. Okay, so I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but it's that's the thing. And what's funny, I also get just as much hate mail because I love everything. Oh, DJ just loves that. He loves Marvel, which I think is PK. He's the one that says that. DJ loves everything Marvel. And it's yeah, I do. But then, so that's bad. I don't like something, that's bad. And they're all different people. But Mark, buddy, Takeover Tuesday. Come on. Let's do it. Because that's what this is about.
The gauntlet has been thrown, I guess, right?
Well, it's thrown every week when I talk about Takeover Tuesdays.
Deej, this has just come through. Do I sound distorted to you guys? John Thompson says
it's a little loud, but I think it's okay. Yeah, we could be. It could be when we're talking over each other too, because of the stream. Don't turn it down now, because it'll just mess with all our audio. We'll work. We're looking to improve each week. So,
sorry guys. Hope it's okay. I'll do my best. It might be me, to be fair.
No, it's a stream. We're doing our best, and we're trying.
I'm getting a phone call from my liquor store. I have no idea why they would be calling me.
Jeez, they're watching you live, and it's time for a drink.
I know. It's what
drunk,
the hell?
Home.
How'd they get my number? That's my question.
Yeah, exactly.
But you've got it saved in your phone, John.
I do, because
what is that telling us?
Well, because I've ordered from them before.
Do they deliver?
Multiple times. No, but I go pick up. I just order and then go pick it up.
Oh, Greg says, answer it live. Look, just because we had your wife on last week live, Greg, does not mean.
We will get to, Greg, stick around, buddy. We're going to get to, we're going to get to some live stuff. So that Greg the Awesome Ninja, that's Greg of Meg and Greg.
Yeah.
So just to let you know. All right. What did we do? What did we just do last? We did John's Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah, I was saying Evil Dead Rise.
You ready? Are you ready for another one?
Yeah, lay it on me.
All right. How about this? Is this good?
Yeah, this will be a quick one. Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Okay, so this is The Founder, not The Flounder, that's a fish. the Founder, the McDonald's biopic. A film that I had never seen. I'd heard of, but not seen it. And it was an anniversary, I think, last week or maybe the week before. And this is on Blu-ray, 5.1 master audio, all about the creation of the brand you might have heard of, McDonald's. And it's got, I really, really enjoyed this. And when I bought it as a blind buy, I was inundated with Twitter messages for days afterwards, people going, oh, great movie, including Carl Ellsworth, who is a Hollywood writer. And all these guys were like, it's really good, you should see it. And I finally watched it, and they're right. It's a really, really good film. I mean, you never quite know with a biopic. You don't know whether you'll engage with the subject matter. And I had no idea what to expect, but it's really good. Really, really good. And Michael Keaton, who plays Ray Kroc, who I'd always thought was the actual creator of McDonald's. That's not the case. Is really good. I mean, it's a brilliant performance. He's always good in just about everything he's in, but as a particularly dark sort of performance, he's really, really good. In terms of the home theater side of it, this is not any. This almost belongs in the honorable mentions category because it's a biopic. It's not flashy. There's no explosions, no aliens, no Evil Dead rise in this at all, as it turns out.
No air vents going in the background.
That's it. Yeah, there's none
flies
of that
and drones.
Yeah.
I mean, there should be. If there were flies, it'd be a bit concerning. McDonald's, but still, it's a really interesting film. And if you're like me and you haven't seen it, then guys, I really do recommend it. The video is really good. It's exactly what you expect.
I do like you, Steve, and I haven't seen it.
No, well, there we go. Then it's time to like me and see it.
If you like me, if you're like me.
Yeah. If you're like me, yeah. And what is good, though, is that this film has a score that seems to be running throughout the movie. It almost doesn't stop. And that right in Neural X nicely sort of sets itself around around you. You know, the music you can hear above you and behind you, and it's not a fairly lilting sort of score. And so that was quite nice and actually brought me into the movie even more. But yeah, as a film, I learned lots of stuff that I didn't know, lots of things that I had never realized before. And there's a nice slice of Americana in here as well, because it talks about and shows the time when the drive-through, I suppose, or the drive up kind of burger restaurant where you park in your car and they bring the food on roller skating waitresses. Now Paul Hurt in the chat, that's roller skating waitresses again. That they bring the food up to your car door, and you'd eat the food, and the change from that to then what we know of as McDonald's, the going up and buying the food and eating it just out of bags. And so there's a lot of sort of nostalgia in there as well. I thought this was really good. I recommend this, guys. Those that haven't seen it, do it. Really give it a go. And it's dirt cheap again. This cost me £5 on Amazon. So it's not going to cost you anything really. And I mean, you could stream it, but I think it's good enough to buy. And so I'd recommend this one. And I think most people will really enjoy it. So yeah, thumbs up from me.
Cool. All right. All right. This next one. This one was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it.
Oh,
shockingly, like,
because Steve recommended it.
No.
Oh,
I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I remember seeing the trailers for it, and I was like, I'm not a big fan of Shark Week and all that, but I'm like, hey, this is, I've seen like the Deep, all the other knockoffs and all the other, like Krull and stuff, and this one I was just like, okay. And this was a lot of fun. It is absolutely awesome. Like,
did we say the title?
The Meg.
Yeah, we did The Meg.
You're right.
Yeah, I thought we did.
Okay.
The Meg.
I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So The Meg on Kaleidescape, 4K, Atmos, and it is like it's so funny. After watching Enter the Dragon, and you go to this, and you're like, it's super smooth because there's like no grain whatsoever. It's just gorgeously shot compared, because it can't.
Yeah, really high contrast as well. And the exterior stuff. The exterior stuff's really high contrast.
There's a lot of nice contrast, but then there are other more subtle parts too. It's not super high contrast all the way through.
No.
But it is very, very well shot. Looks beautiful. And what's her name, John, from, she played Batwoman first.
Oh, Ruby Rose?
Ruby Rose.
Yeah.
I couldn't put my finger. I'm like, who is that? I knew it. Like, it took me all of 30 seconds, and then I was like, oh, Batwoman. Got it. All right. She's in this, and she looks fantastic. All of her tattoos look so great compared to what they looked like as Batwoman, because we were watching on the CW, and she looks awesome. But yeah, it's so much fun. And then you have you have this one particular scene I grabbed. He's
just keep swimming, just keep swimming.
And I said to my wife, I'm like, I don't know where I heard it, but that's what I say when I go on long swims. My wife goes, "That's Dory."
Yeah, it's Finding Nemo. Yeah.
Yeah, Finding Nemo. But it was Dory, wasn't it? Mm-hmm, What's her name? Yeah, she said
Dory,
it. But it's like his one-liners, and I love Jason Statham, and I'm like, I was gonna watch it with my wife, and she was like, she was gonna watch it with me, but something happened, and I'm like, it's a lot of fun. I think you'll like it, so we're gonna watch it again. I'm gonna watch it again, but his one-liners are just so great, and like some of them, he's like just in the water, and it'll be like, "I'm an idiot." Like, just so funny. Have you seen this, John?
No.
Okay, it's no Evil Dead Rise.
Yeah.
But I mean, it is good. It is so good. Yeah, it is, and again, it's leave your brain at the door, Mark. And it's so much fun. I mean, he should have had his hand cut off by a cable at one point. There's so much that's just wrong, but it's just so much fun. More well-grounded than, say, Moonfall, but still, I mean, lots of fun. And, and to keep on to the Meg theme, this will probably be going out on Twitter at some point. Thought it would have been by now, but it just hasn't made it.
Oh dear.
Can you see that? Do you see her?
And she's digging a trench for you.
She's digging the trench. That is about 5 feet deep. 4 feet.
Shallow grave. That's another
Shallow grave. And then
you need another foot there.
And then
what does that?
Steve George, 11/14/74. When the trench decides.
Nice.
So
thank goodness you got the wrong date of birth.
Yeah.
It was the 13th of the 11th Steve, not the 14th.
I thought you sent it to me. I thought it said the 14th.
Yeah, it's the 13th.
Check and see what you. I swear to God, I think I copied it. I think you typed it wrong. Let me look. Maybe I did.
Yeah.
Oh, I did. I texted you. I texted you privately. Where did it go? Oh, you did. 13 of 74. Oh, and you wrote out.
I think I know when I was born, Deej.
I know. I didn't know if you fat fingered it or I did, because I thought I copied it right from there. But
you're okay.
All right, my bad.
Digging my grave, right? That's fair enough.
There you go.
Well, in that case, I'm going to haunt the cinema room.
Yeah.
That'll be. Just so you know, it'll be Evil Dead Rise every night.
Right.
Yeah. Over the trees.
Yeah. Steve will rise. So, yeah, that was great. We had a lot of fun with that one the other day. So, all right. Yeah. So I'm gonna wait to see Meg 2, Meg the Trench at home. But because you know what, to be a little break here before we get to another experience around here, because of Oppenheimer and Barbie, you can't see anything else in the premium screenings because it's all taken up. And but if you've already seen those, and I am seeing Barbie tomorrow, if you've already seen those, I'm the racing movie that just came out. I'm dying to see
Gran Turismo.
Gran Turismo. I talked about it a couple of months ago when I saw the trailer for it. I'm like, this could be the movie of the year. Could be. And the funny thing is, the reviews on it that I'm hearing, it is. They're saying the story is amazing for a video game, but it's a true story outside the video game.
True story-ish. They have changed some significant and tragic events around, and a little bit exploitatively as well, from what I understand. But it is apparently good. It's a lot more widely available here.
You could say the same thing about Patriot Games, about the Boston Marathon bombing. It's like, they do that, Steve. And
No, I
that's
know,
why I
but
don't like that movie.
Yeah, but there is a death in this that triggers the protagonist to do what he does, but in real life that happened afterwards. So and it's a little bit insensitive to the person that really did die. So this is where there has been some controversy here about it. But
Right.
the movies are more widely available here because the Meg 2's got a pretty wide release. Gran Turismo has, if anything, I mean, Oppenheimer's showing twice a day now. That's about it in my local theatre here, and the others are showing more. So it's a bit more diverse here. But I think it's a movie that the Trench definitely worth seeing. But yeah, wait for Blu-ray, Deej. You're not going to miss much. Just to go to the chat briefly, guys.
I think I might be because it's supposed to be really good, and it's like one you want to see in the theater. So
yeah. Well, I did, and I enjoyed it. It was good, but I'll get the 4K disc for sure.
Oh, the Meg,
Zombie
you
Rush.
say. Oh, yeah, you say.
Yeah,
the
sorry,
Trench. Okay,
sorry,
I was
buddy.
I was actually talking about the. I thought I was saying the other one, not
Gran Turismo.
The
Yeah.
Trench isn't. Yeah, I'm not worried about that. I'll see that at home. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zombie Rush 5 says the Meg was great, and up there with Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, saw that one too. Saw Deep Blue Sea, yeah.
Yeah, and Paul Hurt says agree about the Founder, fascinating, and Keaton at his most Keaton-y. I think that should be a proper adjective. Very good. And then Jordan is a man after my own heart in this respect. So Jordan Carpenter says, I've lost count of how many times I've rewatched the Meg on 4K. So amazingly fun. Yeah, 100%.
It is.
It
really
is great. So yeah, and I think generally, what on earth? John just says this. John Thompson says, just need Steve's postcode now and I can open a new credit card. Oh,
it's because your birthday was on.
Your birthday. Yeah.
No, you need more than that. Yeah, you'll need more than that, but worth a go. Oh, Greg is coming in hot. Brace yourselves, fellas. Steve dead.
Nice.
Greg, is it too late to have this changed, Deej? Can I have this popped on? I need this.
That's great.
Yeah, let's just ship it back to me, and then I'll ship it back to you. That should be cheap.
Yeah.
I was going to need looking at how much it cost you to send it, Deej. I need a second mortgage.
Yeah.
It's literally, it's like, it was 9 times more than John's.
Yeah.
When they told me, what's so funny is like when, remember when one of our mutual friends sent you a gift package of candy, right?
Yes. Yep.
It didn't. I forgot that he had literally texted me right from there. You hadn't gotten it yet. And he texted me like, holy crap, this is expensive. And as soon as they told me the price to ship over there, the first thing I thought was, Todd, holy crap, this is expensive. Because I was like, seriously? And the place I go always gives you like, it brings up all options. And she always gives me cheapest, right? And I go, that's the cheapest? I was like,
yeah.
And she's like, yep. I was like, oh my God.
For that, they should have delivered it on a cushion, just and delivered it from the from for that kind of money.
Joe, and Joe's bike, he got his bike. It was half the price coming from you to here for that. Just the frame was half the price of yours. And it was like, and yet
I when I sent the magazines to you guys, the Home Cinema Choice ones, I think I said to you off air. I don't think I said it on air. It was the magazine. It was £6, right?
Yeah.
To send it to you again, the cheapest option was £24.
Right.
To send a £6 magazine.
Right.
Yeah.
We're being fleeced somewhere here. The mail people are making an absolute killing.
Yeah.
You can do the math, but to get it to John, it was $33.
God, man, yeah. Did you just send it first class? Did they serve it champagne on the on the flight?
I was like, I guess. I don't know.
Even that seems
I think
high, to be honest with you. That seems.
Is that why there was a hole in the box?
$33.
Do you think that
it
they
was probably because the shape? A lot of it has to do with the size and
of the
weight.
box. Yeah.
Size and weight together. Like that's why if you can get it down smaller, but I couldn't because I didn't want to crush the hats. I didn't want to, That's what it was. It was everything else. I probably could have got down to the width of the cup.
Right.
But yeah. All right. Enough about that.
Just roll up the shirt and stick it in the cup.
I know. I actually, when I saw the price, I was like, should I just check for airline tickets and show up on your doorstep?
Right.
Anytime.
For like $10 more, you can go with it. It's like, what the hell?
First class.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No,
All
man.
right.
Oh, John, just because John says, "Who the hell are you using for shipping?" We send stuff to the us all the time. I think it means US all the time. £5 plus for a magazine. Yeah, no, this was Royal Mail. You just went to the post office and said, "I need to send this to Texas and to the East Coast." They thought I was very cool, and then fleeced me with the price. Clearly,
Yeah. And then we got this one. Abergod. Steve's accent makes me want to really watch movies, especially when he says they're really good. LOL.
Evil Dead Rise. It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, really good. They don't know what is good. It's just really good. They saw you coming. Yeah. All right. John, I can't wait to hear about this.
What? Oh, yeah. So
the Beastmaster.
Yeah,
we keep
so this
laughing, and the people in audio.
Well, I was
only
gonna
are like,
say,
come on. I know.
I was getting to it. This movie, like I said, this was the movie for me that Krull is for Steve, because I saw this movie, I don't know how many times. It played on endless reruns or repeat on HBO, like all summer long one year, and I loved this movie as a kid. I was a little nervous about watching this again, especially when I talked about it being my guilty pleasure a few weeks ago. But I was alerted to the fact that this was out in 4K. I can't remember who posted it on Twitter, but somebody on Twitter showed it. And this was pricey. This is a Vinegar Syndrome release, and it was a little expensive to get this movie. Yeah. Everything I said about Krull applies here. This movie is so dumb. Like,
how dumb is it?
I mean, it is stupid. It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, as I'm watching this movie, and I don't know who's seen it and who hasn't seen it, but I just kept asking myself, what is the villain trying to accomplish in this movie? Like, there's a bad guy who's doing nothing. Like, I don't know why anybody is trying to stop him because he has no plan. He's not doing anything. He's just there sacrificing babies. That's all he's doing, which I guess is bad enough on its own. But, like, he has no plan. There's nothing happening here. I don't know why this movie even exists as far as that goes. But again, I loved it. Like, it is so much fun to watch these movies again. I hadn't seen this movie in gotta be 30 years. If it's been a day, it's been at least 30 years since I've seen this movie. And I just had a blast watching it. As far as the disc itself, it is all over the place, quality-wise. And there's a disclaimer that comes up at the beginning of this, talking about the restoration of this, and the negative used wasn't the original because it's, I guess, is believed to have been destroyed. And several parts of this movie they weren't able to do full restorations on, and it really shows. Like, you'll be watching it literally within the same scene, it'll be super crisp, like 4K, and then it is grainy and muddy. It looks like you're looking at it through the fly screen from My Cousin Vinny. Like, it is just, it gets really, really bad. So
great reference.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shout it out. Well, I'm just saying, yeah, it's just really inconsistent. The quality is really inconsistent. The audio is not bad. Again, keep in mind that this was filmed in 1981-ish, 82. Yeah. Something like that. So, it does upmix in Neural X. And there is some atmospheric sound that happens, but it's kind of front stage heavy. You don't get a lot of atmosphere. Oddly enough, I had to turn it down a bit because I found his hawk that he has as a companion. I found that screeching to be like nails on a chalkboard after a while. Like, I just couldn't deal with it. I had to turn it down some because it started to give me shivers a little bit on my back. So all that being said, like, I'm not sure that this was worth the money that I paid for it. It wasn't as expensive as Lawrence of Arabia, but it was like $40.
But it wasn't as good either.
Yeah. But it's like $40 for this 4K disc. And like, this is a movie that I might not watch again for another 30 years.
I was just going to ask, which one are you more apt to watch again, this or Lawrence of Arabia?
This.
That's what I thought.
Because it's
shorter?
like, it's 2 hours.
Yeah.
And again, it's fun. Like, it is a great time. Like, it all came back to me as I was watching it. Like, again, like Krull for Steve. I remember this movie. If you had asked me before I started watching it, I couldn't have told you a lot about it. But as I was watching it, it all came back to me. And it, like I said, I had a great time. I watched this last night. I had an absolute blast watching it. But it is not good. Like, it is dumb. You know, the effects and the camera work are shoddy. And then, like I said, the disc itself, it has some... It does have some grain. It has some quality issues because of the age of it and the fact that they weren't able to get a clean negative to work from. But again, if you like this, like if you have a fondness for this movie, you know, if you grew up watching it, I don't know that I'd go out and spend $40 on the 4K. But your only other option, I think, is DVD. I didn't see, because I would have just bought this on Blu-ray if I could find it, because I feel like the quality would have been about the same. So your options are like DVD or this 4K disc. But yeah, it's great. Like it's great and dumb all at the same time. But as are a lot of these movies from this time. Like, again, go back to these movies that you liked when you were 11 years old that aren't named Star Wars, and most of them are not good movies, you know. But they're fun and they're nostalgic. Like, this thing just has a place in my heart because I watched it. Also,
Never-ending Story,
yeah,
all the movies like that.
Which again is another one that I haven't watched. And I'm a little afraid to go back and watch. But, like, you know, I used to go visit my dad in Florida in the summertime. And, like, this is one of those movies that I watched for 6 weeks straight, like, every day, because it ran on HBO all the time. And as an 11 or a 12-year-old, you know, it had boobs and things like that I wasn't used to seeing. And, you know, and I appreciated that. So, yeah, this movie just lives. It lives in my heart as a great movie. But
this show's like Total Recall. It's got 3 boobs.
Yeah, but I can't say it held up, honestly. But it was fun. Like, I had a great time watching it. So
yeah. I do like that picture. Is it not split into chapters? It's split into reels.
Yeah, I guess I didn't explore that, but yeah. And this is another one that I had to go in and fiddle with the audio because it defaults to like the original theatrical stereo mix or something like that, and I had to switch it to like the 5.1 master audio mix. So beware if you're doing that. You know, again, I don't know who's going to rush right out and buy this.
Beware if you parted with $40 for something that isn't very good.
And honestly, like, looking at this, again, I always thought that the cat in this movie growing up was like a jaguar, or not a jaguar, but
a panther.
A panther, right? But watching it last night, I really think it's a tiger that was dyed black. Yeah. Like, it was sprayed painted black.
House cat.
Yeah. But
great.
But you could almost see the stripes underneath it. And I think it's a dyed tiger. So
no.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So, yeah. I thought that was funny. But
talking about your screeching.
Yeah.
Paul Hurt screeching. I had that same reaction with Mamma Mia.
Yeah.
He mentioned earlier in the chat. Yeah. That didn't really enjoy Mamma Mia, Paul Hurt.
Yeah.
Would rather go back and watch Goonies, he said.
Well, I can relate. I didn't think Mamma Mia was all that good either, but
yeah, I've never seen it, never plan to.
Yeah.
I'm not commenting. I've had enough of everybody's had enough of my negativity. All right, what do we got left? We got let's do this one here. There we go. There we go. Steve?
Okay, so this is the Equalizer, the 2014 Denzel Washington masterpiece, directed by Antoine Fuqua. So why now? Well, because the third one is coming out on the 30th of August. And so now it's time to revisit 1 and 2, which I've got in 4K. 1 I watched this week. 2, spoiler alert, I've already watched 2, but we'll talk about that next week. But for this week, we'll deal with the first one. Now, Deej, tell me this. I don't think you've done this one in the podcast, have you? Don't think you have. When have you guys seen this? And if so, how long ago would you last see it? Do you own it in 4K?
Don't own it, and it's been a while for me.
I own it in 4K disc, and that's probably the last time I watched it. Is a while ago.
This is a Sony disc, which is kind of all we really need to say, I would have thought.
Yeah.
It's in 4K. It's in Dolby Atmos. Boy, oh boy, is this worth a revisit, fellas. Now I'd seen my 4K disc of this a couple of times, but I hadn't seen it for a little while. And as I said, third one's coming up, looks good. I thought, right, I'm going to revisit this. I really like this one in particular. This disc is exceptionally good. And again, Sony disc, and it's fantastic. The movie is, it's obviously based off the 1980s TV show with Edward Woodward, albeit with a completely different revamp to it other than the character name. And Denzel Washington is an ordinary guy, or so we think, and it turns out that he is someone else entirely. And so when some Russian gangsters come to rain on his parade, he does what he does best, and equalizes them. So that's the movie, basically. But boy, oh boy, does it look and sound good.
Which came first, this or Man on Fire?
Oh, no, Man on Fire. Because this was 2014. Man on Fire was 2008, 2009, something like that. Yeah. So this is such a good film. But it looks fantastic. And, of course, shot in Boston, Deej. So, obviously the Covenant shot in Spain, this shot in Boston, although this is supposed to be Boston. I have no problem with that. Yeah. Although you might have with some of the accents, because David Harbour's in this and he's trying a Boston accent and he's not doing too great a job of it. So anyway, it looks incredible. It's really been shot beautifully. The HDR on this is exceptional. Again, typical Sony disc. So you get almost eye reactive HDR at times. It looks beautiful and it sounds fantastic, almost from second one to the very end. And we talk about atmospherics, guys, in this. It is constant. He's working in a hardware store and you've got tannoy announcements coming from right above your head. You can hear people off in the distance talking. It's constant envelopment. You can hear thunder in the background, traffic noises, all this stuff going on. And then when the action starts, and there is action in it, and people get killed in this, and when that happens, it's all real bone-crunching, snapping stuff. And there's a nice sequence towards the end where you've got rain and sprinklers internally, and then you've also got an explosion that takes place. And I don't want to ruin it, but it's an explosion that builds, and it moves from the far background into the foreground. And it sounds incredible. This is a really, really good disc. Now, I imagine you can pick this up quite cheaply now because it's been out for ages. And I cannot recommend this enough. This is another Sony demo disc. And unlike Evil Dead Rise, this is a movie that you could show to most people. You're not going to want to show it to the kids. It's an R-rated movie, and for a reason. There are corkscrews put to good use here, and that kind of stuff, and not to open bottles of wine. And so, it's a movie that you can show to anyone, and immediately they're going to be like, "Oh my God, look how good that looks!" and "Oh my God, look how good that sounds!" or "Listen to how good that sounds." So I really do recommend this, guys. This is an awesome disc, and it may have slipped by some people. It might, some people might not have realised it's even out in 4K, or just thought, "Well, it's an older movie, I won't bother."
It's been out since 18. In 4K, and I
think they did 1 and 2 at the same time, didn't they?
Yeah,
I think they released them both at the same time, so it's really good.
Yeah, and that's probably why I didn't do it. It's like I have them. 18. I hadn't started the podcast yet, And I probably just grabbed it, came home, watched it, and then moved along. It's like, but yeah, you're right. It's like everything you're saying. It's like, yeah, it is. It's awesome. It's it's hard. It's hard to describe, but it's like the subject matter, like just like Man on Fire and this subject matter. I think Denzel Washington is he's just so good at, because I just love his personality, like what we know of him outside of movies, right? He just seems, and the way he delivers lines is there's always that hint of like a little bit of sarcasm, but very intelligent and very like, I'm not going to appear angry, but I'm going to get angry. And it's like, it's just watching him throughout the years. I mean, he's been around he's just one of those, I don't know why he's never been as big as I think he's a better actor than, and John will agree with this, than Will Smith. But I don't think he's ever garnered the stardom of Will Smith, right?
Well, I was going to ask you this, actually. This is something that occurred to me the last couple of days as I've been thinking about it. Is he an A-lister?
That's what I'm saying. I think he is. I love him. I love anything that comes out Denzel Washington, you're like, you got to see it, right? But it's to me, but then it does feel like on the periphery, like outside of me, I feel like it's just like, oh, it's like okay. I mean, I feel like he's, I don't know, like, I'm like, him, to me, Tom Hanks.
I was going to say the same thing about Tom Hanks. Like, they're great actors, but are they A-listers? Because, like, where's the billion-dollar blockbuster that they have? You know what I mean?
Well, Forrest Gump.
And if
he's got some big ones. I mean, he's got Philadelphia. Right? That was
they were both in that.
They were both. Yeah. They're great, right? That's what I'm saying. Those are the guys that the movie's going to be fantastic, right? You want to see it. You know they're going to be great. You know it's going to be fantastic. But like they're not box office killer.
But what's interesting about that is what makes them great is like both those characters, people, not characters, but both those individuals. You could read in the phone book, right? They'd just be like, oh, here we go. It's like a YouTube channel of Denzel Washington reading the phone book. Right. All right, I'm in. I'll watch that while I eat dinner tonight. It's like, he's fantastic. It's like, him, Willem Dafoe. It's like, there's another, it's like, but
it's the difference.
Well, what's the criteria for being an A-lister? I guess that's the question.
Because they're fantastic actors, and he is, and you're 100% right. If you know Denzel Washington's in the film, you know it's going to be good, or at least it's going to be a solid, entertaining film, or with anything he's in. But yeah, it's whether awards recognition. I mean, he's got an Oscar for Training Day, hasn't he? And then I think that's it. Although he's been nominated a few times, I think. Whereas Tom Hanks, of course, has got 3 Oscars in a row, famously, and so he I think with Private Ryan and obviously Forrest Gump and then Philadelphia, wasn't it? And so I think Tom Hanks is an A-lister all day long, but I don't think just because he's a fantastic actor and he's in brilliant movies that he's necessarily had that recognition. And by recognition, I don't mean has a household name, but recognition in the industry is hitting that A-list. He should be an A-lister. But I don't think I don't think, other than with Training Day when he had his Oscar win, he's ever quite got there. And actually, so here we go. This is what John, obviously, as an industry guy, is probably our best guy to this. We keep clicking
on it at the same time.
Sorry, guys. God, you do it. You do it, Deej. You do it. I'll stop. So A-list means their name greenlights a movie. That's what John Thompson says. So
I'd say they both are.
I presume he must be.
Well,
yeah.
No, but that's what I was going to ask. I mean, John maybe can answer it. When you greenlight a movie, it means like, okay, we got Ryan Reynolds. Let's make a movie around that. This could be like, we have a movie. Who do we want to get for it? And then it's just like, oh, could we get Denzel Washington? Could we get this person? Could we get, you know what I mean? And it's like, the A-lister is, and maybe Denzel Washington is that, and that's our point. But like, there are movies, like, does Denzel Washington go out for the role, or do they just go, Denzel, we want to make this movie? A-listers they don't, what do you call it? They don't go to the casting calls. Audition.
Right, they don't audition.
They don't audition. They just are given the roles. And it's like, and even worse is like, you got like these movies that, and I enjoy the movies, but they actually just get the actors now and go, what can we do with them? And like, so like The Rock and Ryan Reynolds say they're in a movie together. They just know they signed a contract. We're going to be in a movie together. Okay. They don't know what yet, but they know they're going to be in a movie together. And then they write the movie. Whereas then you get everybody below that is like, okay, you've got to do an audition. How can I get into a movie? So I think that's what John means. Like, it's like a green light is just like, you're just in it. That's, we got you. So,
well, I think, I mean, John and I, well, yeah, so John Thompson says if an A-lister says yes, the rest of the package is just gravy. Means a lot less no or first-time director will get a break if the A-lister says yes. I mean, I obviously the director that Denzel worked most with was Tony Scott, and John and I were texting earlier in the week about Tony Scott, and so but I won't obviously tell those tales out of school. But John, in terms of Tony Scott, he worked with Denzel obviously multiple times and made some incredible movies with him. And also Denzel's working with Anton Fuqua as well, who of course directed Training Day, which we talked about a couple of weeks back. And all of these Equalizer movies are Anton Fuqua movies as well. And the impression I get is that these ones were written with Denzel in mind, even from the first one. And of course, he famously doesn't like doing sequels. So I think these are the first sequels that he's done. And so, yeah, I mean, like I said, he should be an A-lister, because he's such a good actor. Yeah, but I just don't think he's always quite had the recognition he deserves. And again, Man on Fire is a fantastic movie. Crimson Tide, an incredible film. Training Day, all these movies that he's done, and plus a plethora of other movies like Deja Vu and Unstoppable and all these, Take Your Pelham 1, 2, 3, and all these movies that he's really, really good at, and Fences, which I still haven't seen, although I've got the Blu-ray. But getting back to this is a film that if you haven't seen it, you should see it. If you have the 4K disc, give it another watch. If you haven't, I'd pick it up cheap. You might be able to get it with 1 and 2 relatively cheaply now, and of course lots of places will be doing them cheap because the third one's coming. And spoiler alert, the second one's really good as well. Not perhaps quite as good a film, but we'll talk more about that next week. This is really, really good though.
Nice. Yes. All right. John, do you have any left? Yes, you do.
I have one more, but I know we're running long, so
it's all right.
We don't have to.
No,
we can skip it or whatever.
Is it long? Like, do you?
No, it'll be very quick. It can be very quick.
There you go.
All right, yeah. So this is the Outlaw Josey Wales. This is my all-time favorite Western. I have seen this movie hundreds of times. I got this because again, for some reason
4K,
I didn't.
Right?
No, it's just Blu-ray, and I didn't own it on Blu-ray. So I picked this up when I picked up. What was the first one? Krull. When I picked up Krull, I picked up this at the same time. I have never seen this on Blu-ray. I've owned the DVD, and of course, most of my viewings of this were on broadcast TV as a kid. But yeah, this is not the best Western I've ever seen, but it is my favorite Western. I love this movie. Never seen it. This came out, I was like 3 years old, I think, when this came out. So I've never seen it in the theater. I've never seen it on a screen like this. So this was 123 inches. I've never seen this movie in this kind of context. It looked great. I mean, again, obviously I like this movie, so I have nothing but good things to say about it. I just think it's a fantastic film. But I thought the Blu-ray, I thought it looked excellent. Again, this is a movie that's 49, 50 years old at this point. And the transfer was pretty good. It has a little grain, of course, because it's a 50-year-old movie. But yeah, it looked really good. Audio-wise, again, it's upmixed, so there was some... surround with the firing of the Gatling gun specifically in one of the
Gatling
scenes.
Guns.
Ooh,
Yeah,
you had me at Gatling gun.
But again, this is not. It's very front stage heavy. Like there wasn't a lot of action happening in any of the other speakers. It's pretty much, coming out from the front. But again, for those that haven't seen this movie, again, it's. It's dated a bit because it's 50 years old. But this was Clint Eastwood at the height of his cowboy movie
spaghetti
phase, I guess.
westerns,
Yeah.
just-
This was not. See, this is not a spaghetti western.
Right.
And that's the thing. Like, he's coming off of all of those Sergio Leone movies, you know,
Right.
in the late '60s that kind of made him a star. And, you know, of course, he's done a bunch of westerns since. I mean, it seems to be his genre. But I don't know if this was the first one he directed, but, you know, he directed this movie, and this one obviously had some money behind it, had a much bigger budget than the spaghetti westerns prior.
Yeah, he did the spaghetti westerns, did a few on his own. And
Right,
then
I know he did,
Went away
and I don't
from
know-
it till Unforgiven, right? That's what Unforgiven was like, his big re-entry back into the
Yeah, but he had
Western.
some other ones, and I don't know which ones came first, but like High Plains Drifter is another one from the 70s. He did some other westerns that, again, like, were back in the States with bigger budgets, and and again, I don't know which one came first, but yeah, then, you know, obviously he went into the Dirty Harry series, and he did a bunch of other movies, and then Pale Rider, I think, was before. I think Pale Rider came before Unforgiven, if I'm not mistaken.
pretty
And I
sure.
think that was when he came. Probably when he came back to his westerns. But yeah, again, fantastic film. Well worth having if you don't have it, because I don't know if it streams anywhere. But the Blu-ray was, I think I got it for $9, so it's definitely affordable. And this is a classic Western. I just think it's, like I said, it's a great movie. So
Deej, so John, that's your favorite Western. Deej, what's your favorite Western?
Probably would be Unforgiven, because it was just like because other than that, before Unforgiven, it was just all like the spaghetti westerns. It's all Channel 38 Saturday afternoon with your dad, and it was just, you didn't as a kid, you were like, okay, but your dad loved them, so you did, and that's how I felt. But then when Unforgiven came out, I was just like, oh, like I was an adult at the time, and then it ended up being the first Laserdisc I ever owned, because it was the only one. Like, when I bought my player, the store I bought my player at, they didn't have Star Wars or Terminator or any of the, and I'm like, I grabbed that one, and it had just come out, and I was like, because it wasn't a Laserdisc store, but I was like, that movie to me was just like, it was the modernization to me, as at the time. What were you, 23, John, when that one came out?
yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
been a while.
That was like the modern
95, yeah.
and again,
Yeah. Oh,
it
was
is
it
the better
95?
movie. Yeah.
I thought it was
95.
Well,
Yeah.
we would have been 25,
93,
so
95.
we weren't
Yeah.
that far off.
I
But
thought it was
again,
93.
both Pale Rider and Unforgiven are better westerns. This is just my favorite.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
Oh,
they're
yeah,
both
yeah,
better.
yeah.
They're both better films. But this one, for whatever reason, is just always had.
1992. Sorry, guys.
Place
That's
in my
what
heart.
I meant. Yeah, because we were just married, and I had to ask my wife if I could get a Laserdisc player, and she said yes. And then we went to the store together and plunked down a bunch of cash. But
I think the westerns is a romantic genre, isn't it? Again, as you say, John, it's
Absolutely.
not so it doesn't matter if it's the best, but it's the one that you just love.
Yeah.
So Unforgiven, I mean, it's a great
you know,
choice.
you know what's
we have-
funny?
Yeah, go on, Lee, sorry.
I was going to say, like, all like the spaghetti west, getting back to that, like sitting down on Saturday afternoon and watching them with your dad on UHF channel, or some UHF channel. I hate to say it, but like, I'd have to sit down and watch Josey Wales and be like, oh yeah, I remember this. But they all blend together because you were so young as a kid. And I'm not saying that as a bad thing. I'm just saying I watched so many of them with him, and I was young. I couldn't I wasn't smart enough to know what I was watching. So
Well, I
like
think
to
that's
say
where-
that's my favorite.
That's
And
where
know
our
this.
love of the kung fu movies and the Western movies, that's where they come from, though. Are those Saturday afternoon matinees.
And
you know?
Godzilla. And
this
those
one happened to be
creature
one of
double
those. This was one of those. It was higher tier because it was the Sunday night movie. Like, I had to get permission to stay up late to watch this whenever it aired every 6 months or whatever, because it wasn't the Saturday morning fare, but yeah, and to me, this is another, like, I could go down the same rabbit hole, actually, and I'm about to, with the Westerns that I did with the Kung Fu movies not that long ago, because I've got Pale Rider queued up on my Blu-ray player right now, and I'm going to start going. I'm going to go down that rabbit hole for a couple of weeks, but because I love westerns, and
What's the one I saw?
Can we conclude Tombstone as a western? Do we think?
Well, Tombstone is probably second. Like it's right up there for me.
I would call that a western.
I think it's a western.
But I get the question because doesn't it not feel like one? Because
it's a modern sort of blockbuster type kind of film, with all the kind of cool people of the day. Right?
Yeah,
you know, they talk about character actors. You know, I mean,
it
was kind of
cooler than Clint Eastwood. I mean, Clint Eastwood's cooler than the entire cast of Tombstone. It's like you could say, no, seriously, you're walking through Hollywood and it's like, there's the whole cast of Tombstone. There's Clint Eastwood. I'm going that way. It's like, holy crap, that's Clint Eastwood. You know, I'd be like,
well, it's almost like he was made
love
for
Val Kilmer. I love Kurt Russell.
For these movies, you know.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he's also made to be Dirty Harry. He's also, you know.
Yeah.
It's
but,
awesome.
but some will say that's just a western in a modern setting. I mean, you know, you've got again the man with no name other than he's Dirty Harry, but he's going to clean up this one horse town.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty much the same film.
It is right. It's they're all westerns.
And I love Dirty Harry. And I love it. You know.
Yeah. But like you said, John, it's like, you've never seen this like this.
Yeah.
And this is the stuff
amazing.
that, like, to get back to the home theater part, and we love to wax poetic about, like, all of these older movies, and we're talking about the movies themselves and not the home theater experience. But to be fair, it is the home theater experience and why we're talking about them. It's like, and one of the things, like, I can't wait to get this house done, have my dad living with me so we can go downstairs and be like, Dad, this isn't a 19-inch television. I know we're still in the basement watching it, but this is how, you know, and watch all of these older movies with him and be able to, you know, relive them in a proper way, right? The way they were meant to be seen. And that's what these are all about. And this, I mean, like you said, it's just Blu-ray, John, but it's awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Nobody else has any other images, right?
I think we're done.
Experiences?
Yeah, I think that's it. Yep.
All right. I'm going to cook through this really quick. So my last experience of the week, let's go with, we're getting water, people.
Nice.
We're getting water.
Dig in the well.
Digging the well. So for everybody that, like, what I was doing when my tractor was, here we all remember this image, right?
Yep.
All right. So go back to, see that spot right there where that tractor is? That's where I was stuck, right underneath the wheels, right there. So I had to put all this material in and packed it all down so that truck wouldn't get stuck. And we got water. We're getting water. They're going to finish tomorrow. See? Look at that. It's almost like asphalt. I did such a good job. But that was this week in Brightside's new theater. We're getting water.
Like Jewel. You know, you've got, big trucks.
Yep. Lots of fun. I was down there yesterday watching them there's nothing to do. They put the bid in and it takes 20 minutes to get to the next 20 feet. And the guy sits down in his lawn chair and just waits. It's loud as hell, but okay. All right. We have for next week, we're just going to fly through these for August 22nd.
Just whilst you're queuing those up,
yep.
Can I just quickly mention Paul Hurt in the chat? There's, oh God, now where does everyone stand on Bone Tomahawk? Incredible film, which I don't think I could ever watch again. Have either of you seen Bone Tomahawk with Kurt Russell?
Never heard of it.
And
I've never heard of it either.
Matthew Fox. Right. Paul, to answer your question, it is awesome. Okay, Bone Tomahawk is a movie which mixes westerns with cannibal horror. And a bit like, From Dusk Till Dawn, you get gangster movie, flick a switch, vampire movie.
Yep.
Right.
Bone Tomahawk is western, flick a switch, cannibal horror movie.
Yep.
And Bone Tomahawk's great. And Paul, I've seen it about 10 times and could watch it endlessly. It's great. Okay. That's where I stand on that one. But Deej, you don't need to. John, see it immediately.
Yeah, I'll have to look for that.
Steve,
it's on Blu-ray.
Going to look for The Quick and the Dead in 4K
That's another good
Atmos.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun one
I've not
too.
seen that. Sharon Stone, isn't it?
Sharon Stone and
Leonardo DiCaprio.
yeah.
A young
seen it.
Leonardo or younger. Yeah.
That's
All
fun. I
right.
also agree 310 to Yuma, somebody mentioned, is a great
Yep.
Western.
The original
Yes.
or the remake?
I've only
the-
seen the remake. I
The
haven't seen the original.
remake,
Christian Bale, Russell Crowe.
Yeah, and it's got
Yeah.
awesome soundtrack. Great bass in that.
Yes,
Great
yeah, it's
bass
4K
in
disc.
that.
It's great. Yeah, it's in DTSX. I have a feeling it might
Yeah.
be. Yeah, it's really
Yes,
good.
it is. It is. As a matter of fact, you're right. Okay, we're
Sorry.
gonna. I'm not even gonna. Well, I guess I will. So we've got coming up August 2nd, August 22nd, next Tuesday. Sorry, I didn't do my little sounders ahead of time, but we have Weird Science from 19.
Talk about movies from the youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, from your youth. Weird Science from what's that? What year was that one?
1980 something. Yeah.
There it is. 1985. We have Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare Before Christmas. Sorry.
Yeah.
Nightmare Before Christmas.
2 different movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't buy that for the kids.
Yeah.
No, Nightmare Before Christmas. That's coming out next
I think
week
that'll
in
be a great 4K disc, honestly.
Yes. It could.
I love
it
that movie.
potentially could be. Yep. From 1993. Hackers. Also. With that. Oh, Johnny Lee Miller.
Yeah.
Must be really young in that. That's he played what's it Johnny Lee Miller was Sherlock
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
the show Sherlock or Holmes
Lucy
or
Liu.
whatever.
Yeah.
The Legend of Zorro, that's already been out though, isn't it?
No. The Mask of Zorro is out. This is a
Mask- yeah,
sequel.
you're right. Yep.
Not a patch on the
you're right.
original. I love
Nope.
the first one. This one's
Yes.
quite forgettable.
Elizabeth coming in 4K. That's from 1998. We have Promising Young Women.
That's
You know this one?
interesting. Yeah, now that's a hell of a film. A hell of a movie.
Really?
Amazing's coming out in 4K. Yeah, it's a I mean, hard to describe it. An incredible movie about a troubled lady turning the tables on predatory males in clubs and that kind of
Ooh.
thing.
That sounds fun.
And with an ending that you will not see coming and is not a Hollywood ending. It's very, very good, that film. It's a really good thriller.
That's from 2020.
Yeah.
From 1980, The Night of the Hunted.
Oh, John's liking the cover.
I do.
Yep.
Yeah.
John's, the
buy it
light
for the
coming
cover
from
alone.
behind her, but yet still lighting up
Yeah.
her front. Very
Right.
interesting.
Where's your light source?
Exactly. From 1968, we have The Rape of the Vampire. Okay.
I think we'll
Have
skip
never
that.
heard-
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll skip that one.
Skippable.
Yeah.
We have
Steelbook for Hackers.
another Hackers. Hackers with a steelbook.
Steelbook.
Ooh, that's a horrible image they just popped up there. But that's from 1985. Nightmare Before Christmas steelbook as well. The Disney 100. And is that the last? The
then The
Blackening
Blackening.
from 2023. Have you seen this yet, Steve?
No, I haven't. Do you know what? It's not come out in the cinemas here yet. I saw a
Oh.
brief thing for it the other day.
I love the
Looks
tagline.
unusual.
We can't all die first.
Well, quite. That's the thing. No, I don't know whether it's a comedy or whether it's a horror comedy or what. I
Sounds it.
don't
Yeah.
genuinely looks. Well, actually,
No,
the review.
I
Well, it
think
says
it
the
is a
first
comedy.
great
Comedy.
horror comedy of the. It says right on the bottom.
Post Get Out era. Yeah.
Yeah, but
okay.
isn't that the idea? Like, isn't it? They always say like the black guy always
Yeah.
dies first.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
that's-
like it's
that's
got to
the
be a
joke, isn't
comedy
it?
if that's we can't all die first.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of
That's
that. I
funny.
need to see the trailer. Yeah.
Sounds great. Hey, lean into it. That's funny.
Yeah.
And then there's a steelbook version of it.
Steelbook.
Yep. Sounds fun. All right. Let's see. And that I think that will do it. We have a couple of. We had Mark's rant. We got that in. Let's see. Let me do this comment first. This is a really quick one. This is from our man G Cornell, listener. He just sent this image. He's like, Breville smart air fryer oven air fryer just arrived. Good to hot up a tasty treat. Hot up a tasty treat before I push play.
Sure, it's supposed to be heat up.
I know. So, but yeah. So there
I thought
you
it was
go.
a 1970s microwave.
I did too. It looks
doesn't it?
It looks old, but Breville's a expensive brand, so
yeah. G. Cornell doesn't. He spares no expense.
yeah, I see.
Yeah. So, all right, we got a few other comments for next week, but we'll save those for next week. But, whew, we started a little late. We ran a little late, but all in all, I guess it was okay.
Yeah, it was all right.
Did you guys have fun?
Yeah,
Always.
I mean, even though I don't like Evil Dead Rise, are we going to talk? How are we going to talk about it next week? We each saw it separately, and then now I think next week maybe the three of us should do a group chat and watch it together.
Yeah, I've got a feeling this could be the first live watch.
Live
watch of the dead.
It'll be a dead watch.
Yeah. Dead interesting.
Yeah. There we go. This was fun, guys. Thanks, VJ. Appreciate that. No, lots of fun. Always a blast. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. And I didn't say, did anybody hear today's chat with Takeover with Zach? Takeover Tuesdays?
Didn't get a chance. I saw it was there and didn't get a chance.
Yeah. I couldn't wait for you guys to hear that. Oh my God, that guy is he's so smart, so good. I mean, and he did exactly what I'm going through. And he, like, so soon, like, he's still, like he said, he's like, we're still not done 100%. There's always like a couple touch-up things you got to do around the house. But yeah, he got to build his house around like design his theater and then build the house around it, which is kind of what I'm doing. Really, so much fun. Great conversation. I think we ended up talking for like another hour or so afterwards. So that was a lot of fun. Next week, or coming up on Tuesday, Travis and I have a great chat, and we talk about coming up with Cedia. We talk about Lumagen, all that fun stuff. Some reviews that he's doing. A review on speakers that it's great. A lot of fun. These new
also an
speakers
Evil Dead Rise fan, Deej.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you guys can talk about it.
I haven't seen it yet when we talked, so I don't know. But we talk about variable aspect ratio, which he's not a fan of. That gets that we don't get heated. Yeah. But yeah, we have a great time too. So, all right. Yes, Carl, great chat with Zach. It was. It really was. He was awesome. First time he's been on the show, so that was a lot of fun. Anybody else that wants to come on, if you're first time or you've been on before, like a guy like, say, Mark, that's been on before, he could come on.
Has he been on?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Ooh.
I think he was one of the people that actually did it from his car. I've had a few people do that. They take their phone and they go out to their for privacy. They go out to their car. It's pretty funny. But yeah, I mean, hey, whatever it takes, right? So, all right. That will do it for this week. Thank you, everybody. Thanks, John. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, everybody in the chat. Everybody listening. Patreon supporters, thank you very much. Boxes of popcorn gets you to the front of the show, right, Mark? Other than that, or you can just, go on a rant and you'll get in there somewhere. But, all right. Everybody have a great week. And what are we going to do?
Go push play.
What he said.
There you go. Hey, Fred. This has been a Hey Fred production with theme music by Jeff Bernhardt and Throne Vault Productions.